Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Empty words, a dirty trick. Feeding anger, causing hate. It's time to change before too late. Rise above, break the mold. Find your voice and
Greetings.
Shadows fade, light unfolds. Liberate your mind and soul. It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties. Before it's too late, realize. It's a cult, it's a lie. Can't you see? Open your eyes. Break the chains, cut the ties. Before it's too late, realize.
Let's get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. You know exactly why we are here, right?
Yeah. Feel like it's
What is today? Today is Tuesday,
stuck in
April 8th.
It's like a curse.
Good morning. What's up, Little Hawk? Nice to see you, brother. Nice to see you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Once again, it is me, Big Zeus, back in the kitchen. All right.
It's deja vu when I'm running up these racks. I'm like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back.
Right.
It's deja vu when I'm out here flying first class. It's like every week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game.
Greetings.
You can tell that I made it.
Look at my grass.
Cars in the garage, the tanks full of gas. I play the game so raw, I won't finish last. Sitting in my living room.
You know exactly why we are here.
This is how it's supposed to happen when you rich and famous.
The algorithm turned me to a maniac. It's OC. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Benjamin Franklin is my bestie. And if they is my ex, that mean they left me. They don't
Hey.
give replies if they text me. I say it with my chest cause I mean it. Got a lot
Here it goes. Here comes the Zeus haters right here.
Call me the master with a new
Here it goes. Here it goes.
I'ma take off in a spaceship.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's life.
Oh, you haven't? That's a lie.
That shit was radical.
Very radical.
It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off the rails.
It's like deja vu. It's like deja
Just when they say it like that.
deja vu.
All right, all right, all right. Let's go ahead and get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show once again. We are back in the Thunderdome. I'm your host. I'm your pilot. You know exactly why we are here. We got to save this great country of ours from the evil clutches of Donald J. Trump and his MAGA-possessed, demonic forced individuals that continue to support him. But before we get started, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is, well, because I'm honest. There's nobody more honest than me. Listen, if I get it wrong, I will honestly be the first to apologize, all right? The second H is, well, because I'm humble. Well, actually, that's the right one, right? If I get it wrong, I'll apologize. My bad. And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I am and will always remain the most handsome. The first H means honest, all right? I got it wrong, all right? But you know what I meant when I said what I said. Many of you are very familiar with what we do over here on this side of town, on this side of TikTok. What we do is very, very special. We're saving this great country of ours, all right, because we understand the risk that's currently going on right now. I've always said it, and I'll continue to say it. The most dangerous thing in this great country of ours, what is it? Oh, I know. It's an uninformed Trump supporter. That's the most dangerous thing ever. I don't want to. Somebody wrote, "Look at the futures." What do you want me to look at the futures for? That is not a good situation to be over there celebrating. Do you know how high it was when President Biden was in office. You're over there looking at it now and you're being grateful for peanuts. See, this is the problem. This is I really don't know what to say to you Trump supporters other than just keep on doing what you're doing. Eventually you'll end up peacefully entering the afterlife. All right, W Zeus in the chat. I knew it. I was waiting for. I'm so glad that it's doing what it's doing right now for you Trump supporters, because I've never seen a group of people so grateful for peanuts in my life. And you had meals when Joe Biden was in office. You had meals. When I say meals, I mean he gave you a full course dinner. All right, you had steak dinners actually when Joe Biden was there. You could actually afford to buy a steak. Now you can't even afford to buy a steak, and the stock market goes up a few pennies, and you're going, "Thank you, Donald Trump." This is the situation we're currently in. So before I go any further, let me say this: do we have any Trump supporters out there this bright and early? Any Trump supporters out there? Please identify yourself. No way, you're the most handsome. You saying, look at your Oh, I did. Well, no. I do say, look at my features. I do. That's different than the stock market, but I get what you mean. Well, listen up. If there are any Trump supporters out there, do me a huge favor. Leave this live as soon as possible, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable in here for you. All right. Good morning, Eric. Nice to see you. And if you do not want me to ruin your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between, like I said, go hang out with these fake TikTok hosts, because they'll lie to you. Over here, we don't have to lie. We really don't. All right. And like I said, if you don't want me to do that to you, do us a huge favor. Leave right now, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable. But get this. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
There you go. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to start the show off with this morning? We do got to get this on the record. You know, the Alien Enemies Act is somewhat in full effect. And so I want to go ahead and get this on the record before I make my statement, and then we get straight to judgment. And this message goes out to all of the Latinos for Donald Trump. Are there any Latinos for Donald Trump out there? I just want to make sure that you understand what type of time the United States is on right now. And again, the Democrats tried to warn you, but you didn't listen. So let's go.
That says the Trump administration can't. 36 right now. This morning, we're learning more about a Supreme Court ruling that says the Trump administration can temporarily use the Alien Enemies Act for deportation.
It's a 1798 law that gives the government certain powers during declared wars, as well as actual or threatened invasions or incursions. It's what the U.S. used to detain Japanese nationals during World War II.
The administration wants to use it to deport Venezuelan nationals it alleges have gang ties. The court's ruling last night does not decide the merits of that argument, but as Amy Kiley reports, it's more procedural.
This is a win for the Trump administration.
The Supreme Court is allowing deportation proceedings under the Alien Enemies Act for now, but with stipulations. The ruling throws out a U.S. district judge's order. President Donald Trump says on social media it's, quote, a great day for justice.
You can use these additional authorities, such as the Alien Enemies Act, to target these terrorist organizations.
But the Supreme Court says the men involved in the case can challenge the use of the Alien Enemies Act. They just have to do so in the district where they're detained.
Where?
The justices say anyone facing deportation under the wartime law should have that opportunity. The ACLU calls that a victory. It comes after ICE sent alleged Venezuelan gang members to an El Salvador prison while legal challenges were still playing out.
They actually, as a practical matter, can get to the courts and not be whisked away in the middle of the night like was originally done in this case.
So what we got is the Trump administration taking a victory lap because they believe now they have no guardrails when it comes to randomly profiling any of you Latinos for Donald Trump, right? And basically deporting you to El Salvador. And so you know that's the angle they're taking because guess who went on record? She went on the Fox News and she says Yeah, she basically put a little meat on the bone and said, yeah, we're going to definitely be following through with these mass deportations in terms of using the Alien Enemies Act. Let's listen to what Pam Bondi said, and then we'll get to judgment, all right?
This is a landmark victory for the rule of law, and this is what we've been arguing on behalf of President Trump from day one. These are enemies of our state, of our country, and they should be deported. And what the judge ruled was going forward, from this day forward, all those planes that are gone are there. Those people are staying. So there are a lot of reasons why Americans are safer. From this point forward, the hearing will be held, it's a habeas hearing, in the court of confinement, which means in Texas.
Oh.
So it will be a much faster hearing. They can't do class actions. It will be a much smoother, simpler hearing, and these people will be deported. Americans are safer, and domestic terrorists, foreign terrorists, you better look out, because we're coming after you. I'd start self-deporting if I were you, because we're going to find you.
Oh. All right, so let's get to judgment. I gotta say this, honestly, it breaks my heart every day to know that we are living in a country where so-called Christians are openly advocating for American citizens to be rounded up and detained based on how they look. Because if you ask any Trump supporter, what criteria are you using when you go after people to determine whether or not they are actually in a gang? None of them can give you a clear answer. None. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something else. I didn't want to bring this up. I really didn't. But this story, it's involving a football player, a black guy. Well, the football player is white. You know about it. And he ended up getting poked. Remember this story, ladies and gentlemen? You all have been hearing about this story. And this goes out to the blagger as well. I was listening to an exchange yesterday, and this definitely is tied to the mass deportations. They actually go around and they say, just look at them. And you can tell whether or not they are in a gang or they're trouble, whether you're black or brown. This is how their minds work, ladies and gentlemen. And, it was so interesting because on one side, you could see the black people there that voted for Donald Trump. This is in relationship to the guy that ended up losing his life at a football game. The football player that lost his life over a seat, and it involved a black guy. What was his name? Carmelo Anthony. So in that situation, you have white Trump supporters, and even in some cases, Hispanic Trump supporters saying, you can tell this black guy, he's up to no good. He's guilty. But then you say, well, what about what happened on January 6th? Oh, well, that was a completely different thing. You don't know what those people were doing. They were just peacefully protesting. So it's their eyes, right? And then you get to these people who are in this country. You know who they are. These are some weird people, but these are the Latinos for Donald Trump. They walk around with Trump gear on, and they think that they got the complexion for the protection, right? And they all think that one day Daddy Donald Trump is going to rescue them from their misery, whatever that is, right? And they don't understand this.
Open borders.
They don't understand this.
With people pouring in, some of whom, I won't get into it, but you can look at them and you can say, could be trouble. Could be trouble.
Newsflash. For every single one of you in this country, the number one thing that the United States has been the number one exporter of. Does anyone know what the United States has been the number one exporter of since the moment it was founded? Does anyone know? Oh, that's close. Racial profiling. Yeah. Does anyone know? Does anyone know what the answer is? Racism. W Zeus in the chat. Ever since this country has been founded, we have been the top nation on the earth when it comes to manufacturing, distributing, and selling racism to every corner on the planet. And for some strange reason, these Latinos for Donald Trump and these blacks for Trump seem to have forgotten it. And I want to blame, it's a lack of education. I want to blame their parenting. I want to blame so many things. But when you got a smartphone, and the information is at your fingertips, there's no excuse other than just pure ignorance and blind loyalty. So what I'm going to do is warm up this lake of fire. To all of the people of color that support Donald Trump, this one is for you. Welcome to America. For some strange reason, you thought the United States stopped selling racism. You thought we stopped manufacturing and selling it, even though it's been right in your face. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what they can do. Go to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And I know that there are people out there that go, Zeus, could you just please, Zeus, especially the people on the right, could you please stop talking about racism? Could you please? And I go, no, as long as you have Donald Trump in this country engaging in the mass deportations and attacking DEI. By the way, I saw what they did with Harriet Tubman, and then they brought it back, right? As long as you have that kind of stuff going on, I'm going to always talk about it. Manufacturing and selling racism and discrimination is what the United States was founded on. That's how we ended up getting to be the #1 country on the world. You got decades and decades of centuries really, of free labor. That's how the United States became one of the most powerful countries. They got free labor for centuries. And all they had to do was manufacture and sell this thing called racism to each and every person in the country. And to this day, you can see it in these people. You go and talk to them and you say, well, listen, is this person guilty or innocent? And you can go take an implicit bias test if you want to go take a picture. If you want to go look at this, if you think I'm lying, there's an implicit bias test that you can actually go and take. And then they show you the picture of these people and they go innocent or guilty. I'm summarizing it. But 9 times out of 10, you'll look at somebody and if they don't got the right complexion for the protection, you'll say they're guilty. W Zeus in the chat. That was free information that I just gave you all right? Seriously. Now let's move on to some of the more relevant things, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, you got a president sitting in the White House ruining people's retirement accounts, and nothing tells me that the United States is on the verge of a breakthrough in terms of people recognizing that this guy is probably one of the most dangerous people on the planet. Nothing says that more than are you paying attention to these right-wing content creators? You know who they are. One thing is clear. All of them, I repeat, all of them are losing money in the stock market. Even Scott Bessent, all right? And you know who he is. And they're wondering, why? Why am I losing money? Now, when we all got started on this tariff roller coaster, one of the things that I remembered the president saying, he said, we're going to put these tariffs on Mexico and Canada. You remember this? To go after the cartels. Do y'all remember this? Wasn't that the reason he said he was going to do it? And then all of a sudden, now he's just making up random reasons for why he wants to do these tariffs. So one thing is clear. There's no rhyme or reason why he's doing it. All right. But yesterday he was being asked by a reporter, and this is a new reason he's doing the tariffs. Apparently, he's doing it because he wants to make it a situation now where basically American products can go anywhere in the world. I didn't know this was the new reason, but listen to what he says.
Farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as badly as they've treated us, they brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5, and I hear maybe to nothing. But it's not only tariffs; it's non-monetary tariffs.
So it's not only tariffs; it's non-monetary tariffs. So this is next level diabolical as far as I'm concerned. Now, what does it take for him to come back to Earth? Is he even still on Earth is the question I'm asking.
Tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult, the standards and the tests. They drop a bowling ball on the top of your car from 20 feet up in the air, and if there's a little dent, they say, no, I'm sorry, your car doesn't qualify. When the same car from Germany or anything would dent likewise, unless you can have an army tank. It's going to.
What is he talking about? So is this all because he wants to be able to sell Chevys and Fords in Europe now? Is it? And because he said it's not about the money. Which one is it, MAGA? Bowling balls, army tanks. I mean, you all think. Let me ask you, Trump supporters. Does Donald Trump sound like a sane person? I gotta ask this question. Does Donald Trump sound sane? Especially to MAGA, because I heard of Sleepy Joe. I've heard somebody wrote yes. Somebody wrote yes. I saw a couple of yeses in there. Okay, maybe you didn't. Let me press play a little bit longer. If you think Donald Trump sounds sane, send me a guest request, please, and I would love for you to unpack what he's talking about, if you don't mind.
So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't sell your product in those countries, and we're not going to let that happen. Those are called non-monetary barriers. They make barriers that are so tough that it's impossible to qualify. So tariffs are a big part of it, but there's another big part of it, and that's barriers.
So tariffs are a big part of it, but that's just a part of it. There's another part called barriers. Jeff, I invited you up here, Jeff. What are the barriers, Jeff? If you really slowed down and listened to what Donald Trump was saying, MAGA, you would understand why I believe you're really in this cult. Because in no circumstance has Joe Biden ever sounded this unhinged. When you're communicating with people, you are supposed to be exchanging ideas, and these ideas hopefully should result in maybe you learning something. Perhaps other than that, why are we talking? And when I listen to Donald Trump, I'm going, I'm really not learning anything that makes sense. But what I am understanding is there's something going on up here. All right. There's a lot of misfiring. I wish I had the sound effect when the car misfires, but you can just see there's a lot of misfiring going on.
They do something else. They manipulate their currency and they drive it down. They want to have low currencies. It sounds better to have a high currency, a strong.
So we're talking about manipulating currency now? We then went from barriers, trade barriers, to manipulating currency. All of these are just excuses for doing the tariffs. Venom, come on up here, Venom, if you don't mind, Venom. Could you please come up here and be a MAGA translator for us, Venom, if you don't mind? Because when you say things about President Biden, it just blows my mind. It really does, because I'm not even talking about Joe Biden. But what we see is that Venom, perhaps, maybe, do you have Biden derangement syndrome, Venom? Do you have Biden derangement syndrome, Venom? Because where in this am I talking about Joe Biden?
Dollar or whatever, but they bring their currency down.
They bring it down.
And when it competes with our currency, it's very hard to sell a tractor. It's very hard to sell product because their currency is low and ours is much higher relatively.
So it's hard to sell a tractor because their currency is low and ours is higher. Well, isn't that a good thing? Or do we want our currency to be lower and theirs higher? You see where the MAGA minds are going right now. They're sitting there going, hey, ding, 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 ding. Donald Trump is hitting all the bells inside of my head. I'm so wrapped up around that diaper W Zeus.
And so it makes it very hard. I speak to a lot of companies that do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard to sell because what they've done is they've lowered the yen or they've lowered the yuan or they've lowered their currency, so that it's very hard to compete. We don't want that either. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about, but we're going to fix it properly, and it's going to be fair to everybody. And in the end, I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, but they have to respect the United States. And nobody but me would do this. Nobody but me would do this. It would be nice to serve.
So he says nobody but me would do this. And I'm finally starting to understand that at least he's being honest. Because when I asked the Trump supporter yesterday that got into my box, I think his name was Frank or Fred or something, I said, who else in the world would do what Donald Trump is doing? And they struggled to give me a direct answer, but now we have the cult leader, their dear leader himself, admitting he's the only one foolish enough to do this. While he's making the people who voted for him, he's making their retirement accounts go down to zero in some cases or disappear entirely. He's the only one that would do that to his supporters voluntarily.
Easy term, but we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade.
Okay, so
we lose billions of dollars. We lose close to $2 trillion a year on trade. We lose $1 trillion a year to China.
Oh,
$1 trillion. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade to China. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars overall, probably close to $2 trillion.
Oh.
Why would we do that? Number one, why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable? Then you hear about all of the people that say, well, deficits. If we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that.
Oh.
I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military.
Oh, okay. So now we're in a new level right now. We didn't went past barriers. We didn't went past selling tractors. I mean, we've covered so much territory so far. Now he's talking about them taking the revenue that they get from, imports and exports, and he's going, so you're taking the revenue and you're using it to build up your military, and we got to stop that. How many more reasons do we need from this man to justify the tariffs? That's some wild mental gymnastics that he is doing. All right. He really thinks this is the way to weaken China. This is the way in his mind that he's going to weaken them and make China bend the knee, and at the expense of you. At the expense of you. Yeah, it's called gaslighting. So let's listen to how he's going to destroy China's military, ladies and gentlemen.
Want them spending money on their military, and I shouldn't have to spend money. We shouldn't have to spend it either, because hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have.
Oh,
we don't want that. So it's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table, because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end.
I gotta stop right there. Did he say no other president would do this, and that he doesn't mind doing it because he sees a beautiful picture at the end? Any Trump supporters want to come up here and explain what this beautiful picture at the end looks like? And if that isn't cult talk, I don't know what is. Again, I read quotes to you from what, who he was, Jim Jones, what he said to his followers right before he encouraged them to peacefully enter into the afterlife. And they drank that stuff. It's literally right out of the playbook. He says, I am the only one that can see this beautiful picture. Any Trump supporters would love to come up here and brag about how all of this makes sense, because I really don't know I don't know where to begin. I really don't know where he has a vision. Someone said he has a vision. You don't want to come up here? Somebody said it's 2025. I should be leaving the plantation. Well, Joe, you want to come up here and explain to me where you're trying to take me? Joe, you're trying to take me into the afterlife with you. Nope, not going to do it. But what I will do is, you know what? There's another part I want to put in here. All right. There's another piece that I'm going to get on the record, and then we'll get to judgment. All right.
But we are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this, 90,000. You wouldn't think it's possible.
Hey, let me ask this. Any Trump supporters want to work in a factory? Any Trump supporters desperate to work in a factory? I would love to know what MAGA person sitting. You can scoot anything. Oh, little Guppy. Hey, little Guppy, you want to come up here real quick? All I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen, I've been so kind this morning, haven't I? I haven't even really laid into MAGA because, you know, I got to be very nice. But all I'm doing is playing what Donald Trump is saying, and you're getting upset.
Nice to see you, too. Aha.
I'm not getting upset.
Hey,
You're just a hater. That's all there is.
Can you mute your TV?
You know damn well we can't.
Because I can barely hear you, brother. I can barely hear you, brother. All right. Thank you. Well, is that Fox in the background?
You're just a hater.
Tell me why you think
you're just a hater. That's all there is to it, man.
All right. Now what
you're
I like
just a hater because you look for any little thing that you could exploit about somebody. And this man has done more for this country, and he has taken on everybody that has tried to kill him.
But can you say unalive? Can you say unalive? Can you say unalive? We got to keep this. I don't know if this is your first time talking, but I don't use profanity.
Okay. It is.
Yeah. I don't use profanity, and I try to use
profanity.
Okay, but I want to really get your opinion about all of this stuff you're saying. So please continue. I'm a hater, and I just exploit everything Donald Trump does, even though I'm right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
what else?
No, you're not right. You're right in your own mind is what you are. And because you could sit here and hardly nobody's probably going to say anything to you. But, you know, hey, I want to try to steer you from the error of your ways because like you're going to try to talk that he's racist. My God, he's done more for black people and other people of color than any president before him, you know. But, oh, no, he's a hater. He's a racist. He's running a cult. He's running a cult called the United States of America is what he's trying to do. But people like you want to put him down for everything, you know, just because you look at one little point and you got it skewed because you're a Trump hater, you know.
Well, when do I get to respond to any? When do I get to respond to any of this?
Go for it, dude.
But your signal is struggling a little bit. I don't know what's going on, but your signal. I do believe that. Okay, I do believe that Donald Trump definitely has no problem with racist people, right? Because a lot of the people who are racist, guess what? Guess who they voted for this election? They didn't vote for Kamala Harris, right?
Hey,
right?
Mindless Kamala Harris.
Wait.
Didn't even have a brain.
Wait a second. Now look at that. We're trying to have a respectful discussion. She's still an American, sir.
It is respectful.
She's an American.
She's an American.
Okay, well, why don't
she has got no brain?
No, that's not true.
I mean, you was going to vote. Oh, yes. See, you were probably going to vote for her, so that should tell your audience a whole lot.
How about this? Let me explain this. Can you hear this? Can you hear this?
Insane asylums.
Listen to this.
They go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter. Okay, they say, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter?
Now you know about Hannibal Lecter, right? And you know that he.
Oh my goodness, dude! Yeah, you're taking that out of context, also.
Would I be wrong to at least ask you to explain Hannibal Lecter? This is somebody your president loves to talk about. Or would you like me to bring up the sharks and the batteries?
Oh my God!
Can I bring up the sharks and the batteries? Because you made
Bring
a
up
claim.
whatever you want, because
listen,
you're
bro.
gonna be a hater no matter what. Look at all the good things this president does for this country, but you're gonna try to
name one. January 6th. You want to say January 6th was a good thing?
Oh my God, that was you. That was all you Democrats set all that up.
Well, how did you Trump supporters in it? How did you Trump supporters fall for the Democrat trap on January 6th?
Trump supporters were caught up in the middle of you all paying rioters and protesters. Hey, there might have been some people that went in, but they weren't the ones that started it all. So, man, dude, get out of it.
So
you are just a hater, dude. That's all there is to it, man.
What about his convictions? What about him being convicted? He's a felon.
Yeah, they were all false. My God, dude. Yeah, see what I'm saying?
You said he's done good things. You said he's done good things. Name one good thing he's done. I'm giving you a lifeline. I'm giving you a lifeline.
You don't have to give me a lifeline. You're the one who needs a lifeline because you're a hater, dude. You are a hater.
Can I ask you to
who could do better? Name
Kamala.
Somebody that could do
Joe
better.
Biden.
Kamala. Biden. Oh my God, dude, you are so lost, man. I'm out of here. You're a loser. That's all there is to it.
Well, you going to go back into the house and finish getting programmed by Fox?
I'm not gonna. Hey, I'm gonna.
Because Fox was programming you. Well, what were you listening to?
Oh, listen to who's talking. Who programmed you, man? You're the big
Triple H. I'm Triple H.
Yeah.
I'm the most honest.
All the haters in
I'm the most honest, humble,
I'm so
and handsome person you've talked to.
So much. You all have put black people through so much. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have put black people through a lot. But you are going to sit there and live in the hate.
Why are you crying?
You're living in the hate, dude.
Why are you crying this early?
You're living in the hate.
You're crying. I've never seen a grown man cry like this.
Listen to you, man. Look at who's talking about crying. You don't even have a brain in your own head, because anybody that would vote for Joe Biden and his criminal enterprise.
Can I ask the audience?
Harris,
let me do this.
Yeah.
Does anyone think he's crying right and early in the morning? If you think this guy's crying, put a 1 in the chat. Let me see. Oh, he left. All I'm doing is hitting play on what Donald Trump is saying, sir. You don't got to get up here and do anything like that. All right. But I didn't get anything out of you other than you believe that I'm a hater. And that's unfortunately not true. And so what I'll do is I'm going to warm up this lake of fire, because we got to get to judgment. All right. Before I bring up my next guest, I'm going to warm up this lake of fire, because when I can't get any answers and it just turns into people insulting or trying to insult me, even though I'm Triple H, there's only one thing left to do. Hey, sir, go back to getting programmed, all right? And for the rest of the time, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Let's go ahead and send them straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Alrighty then. So as you can all see, that was a very, very interesting conversation. I barely got to say anything, right? All I did was hit play on what their dear leader has said, all right? And he didn't want to come up here and do that. He wanted to do what I call the Democrat shuffle. And that's when you bring up Joe Biden, and you don't even say her name right, but Vice President. You should say Vice President Kamala Harris. And you start trying to say that they've done a bunch of terrible things, and then you start saying, well, but Daddy Trump has done a lot of great things. And I said, well, which of these things are great? It says guest violation warning. Okay, all right, well, he's out of here. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, you see how I have to be very, very measured, because I think they do something on this app. I'm not quite sure. But W Zeus in the chat. W Zeus. Thomas, my show is ignorant. Come on up here, Thomas, if you don't mind. Thomas, all I've done this morning, and I kid you not, all I've done is just hit play on what your dear leader is saying. And I'm asking for you to just translate, if you don't mind, what Donald Trump is actually trying to say to you.
90,000 plants and factories
since NAFTA, which was, by the way, the worst trade deal ever developed, ever had by any country anywhere, NAFTA. And I terminated NAFTA. Everybody said it would be impossible. And I terminated it through Congress. We terminated it. You had to get it through Congress. It was a trap. It was a horrible thing. And we got it done. And we went to the USMCA, which was much better. The problem is they cheat. They cheat like crazy. Canada cheats. Mexico cheats. Just one of those things.
Well, we know Donald Trump cheats too. All right. Just ask Melania. W in the chat for Zeus.
We are resetting a table, and we're going to have great trade, and we're going to have a very strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has maybe never been, or maybe, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based. We had no...
Anybody want to go back to 1870 to 1930? Because now it's starting to... You see the picture that he was telling you he had in his head? He's trying to take you back to the 1870s. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give these Trump supporters another round of booze and shame, because the picture in Donald Trump's head is, when you go back to the 1870s, where the horse and the buggies and the chains and the whips are actually quite popular. That's where he wants to take them, all right? And they don't understand it, but now we do. Let's go ahead and send them straight to hell. Y'all don't get it, but I do. It's so easy to do.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Someone wrote Oregon Trail, and I see that there are some people in my audience right now that are extremely worked up because of the level of truth that is coming out of this show. It's like I said at the very, very top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
That's for each and every single one of you Trump supporters. I'm still not understanding, why the heck are you still in the United States of America with us Democrats? Don't you got somewhere else to be besides here? Because your credibility with us it doesn't exist. MAGA has zero credibility. Because we know one thing, you will always bend yourselves into a pretzel to believe your dear leader, no matter what he tells you to do. Well, some of you are starting to wake up and come out of the cult, but for the rest of you, I promise you, there's not one thing Donald Trump can say or do that will make you go, you know what, I'm done with this man. All right. Not one thing, because your loyalty to him is that strong. All right. And it's like I've been telling you, you better go read up on, who he was, Jim Jones, when he made those people put on their Nikes and point their toes up north. Right. He told them that, and he said, peacefully enter it. All right. And don't worry, you're going out as a brave person, not a weak one. This is how Donald Trump talks to you. All right. I know this because I understand it. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter, and I'll bring you right on up here. All right, and we'll finish having these conversations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter. I'll bring you right on up here. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. Have any of you Trump supporters taken the medicine he suggested that you take? Have any of you taken it? Let's go. Okay, I see you, Deb. Deb, come on up here if you don't mind, Deb. You don't got to get up here and do all of that nasty stuff, because TikTok is they're cracking down on the nasty behavior. So I think it's in everyone's best interest, honestly, to just speak and try to get your point across in the most coherent and respectful way. All right. If you can do that, this probably won't be as painful. Someone wrote, "Don't do it, Deb." Deb ran. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter, and I'll bring you up. Yeah, you can't get on TikTok. I'm going to be honest with you. You can't get on TikTok. And as much as I love to do it, you all have seen me. But there's lines you just can't cross. You got to try to stay within the community guidelines. Seriously. And that's why I don't encourage people to get up here and just start saying what comes straight to their mind, because that's how you get the show put into the toilet, so to speak. So what I'm looking for is a Trump supporter, right, that can actually come up here and translate what what Donald Trump is saying or how Donald Trump might be actually trying to help you. I run that show, honestly, I think of it like a little bit of the town halls. You see, a lot of people think that those town halls are paid for by the DNC, but if the Democrats aren't that popular, then you have to go, well, where are they getting the funding to do this, right? Because this is just too many people. These are real Americans that are really upset. Good morning, user. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm all right. So you voted for Donald Trump, correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. What do you got for us this bright and early?
Well, I want to know, how did China...
Is there something you can do with your... Are you on like a headset or something? Because you sound muffled.
Yeah, I'm on a headset.
Got it. All right. I'm going to just turn it up because I don't hear much background, but it sounds like you're muffled. So maybe it's just on my end. Oh, yeah. So how did China do what?
How did China get low tariffs from us? How did we give China these low tariffs? What happened there? How did Japan get those low tariffs?
Let me ask it this way. What is their tariff? What is the number you're using right now when you say they got low tariffs? Because I do believe that there's a difference in the trade imbalance, right? Is that and I think that's what this is all stemming from, right? We tend to import more from China than they import from us. And so on paper, right, it looks like they're making more money than us. I think that's what you're talking about, right? And if you is that what you're talking about?
No, not really. I'm not trying to talk about the specific numbers here. I just want what set this trade imbalance on the path that it's on.
Well, I'm not an economist, right? So number one, I would always say you got to go look it up yourself. But I can understand this. I know a lot of businesses. They've taken their business not just to China but to other countries, right? Because it's cheaper to do it.
Okay.
And
so
I don't know what
2008. Ted Koppel did a deal called Capitalist China. Do you remember that? Do you remember seeing that expose?
No, but do you at least before you go there, do you think it's cheaper to do this kind of stuff, some of the manufacturing and stuff? Do you agree that it's probably cheaper to do it outside of this country and then bring the product here?
Absolutely, and it always has been that way.
Okay, all right. Now, where were you going?
I said Ted Koppel did an expose back in 2008 called Capitalist China.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when China was going from bicycles. Remember all the bicycles? You'd see all these China men and women riding bicycles everywhere. And then they were projecting that China was going to have one car per Chinaman. And there was like 1.5 billion Chinamen. And so every major automotive manufacturer was building a plant in China to make these cars for the China population.
Mm.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah. And my question then, and my question now, is why did we have to build those plants? Why did Ford? Why did Fiat? Why did Mercedes? Why did Buick? Why did everybody have to build a plant in China to make cars for the China?
Well, I don't have the answer, but it goes back to what I initially asked you about, right? I'm assuming what you're saying makes sense, but you don't got to say the Chinaman part if you don't mind. You could be more respectful about that.
Chinaman, China people. If I say Filipino,
yeah, you could just say people from China then, or China itself,
from China.
or China itself, right? But when you say it like that, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. But here's the thing, right? I don't think we should have a president telling businesses where they should and shouldn't be able to do business, right?
Okay.
Because the only person that can honestly tell you what's in the best interest of the business would honestly be the business owner, right? And
Absolutely.
So I would imagine around that point in time, but this is before the technology boomed and things changed, because now it's not just China, right? It's other countries that are making cars and things like that. At that point in time, it probably made financial sense for them to go over there and do that to a certain degree.
No, it's because we couldn't import them there. China wouldn't let them because the tariffs were so high.
No.
Oh,
China has their China
I
also
owned an export company. An export company. So absolutely.
So
I owned an export company.
So you're saying China would not
vehicle to China was about 5,000.
So you're saying that you believe China should you believe China should import Fords. You want China to import Fords and Chevys. You think that's what China should be doing? Importing the Fords and the Chevys and all these other American made cars. And
GM
to me that
got rid of Oldsmobile. GM got rid of Oldsmobile. And the reason why they got rid of Pontiac over Buick when they were trying to downsize is they kept Buick because Chinese people preferred Buicks because they're wealthy, drove around in big black Buicks back in the 30s. So they idolized a big black Buick.
Yeah.
So Buick invested all their money and technology into Buicks and Cadillacs. And they got rid of Oldsmobile altogether. You know, Oldsmobile made a Bravada. That was the test bed for the Denali and the Escalade.
But listen. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It sounds to me that at best, maybe Trump should have done targeted tariffs, right? Because I think the issue is the blanket tariffs, and I think also the issue is the rate that he's using isn't really based off the tariff rate that China has, right? He's doing it based off of the trade imbalance. And in a way, he's just trying to make China come to the table and start negotiating. I don't know what the angle is, but what we see is it's not making sense to the economists why he's doing this, right? And it's causing other people to be innocently harmed, by this. That's just my take. And in terms of like American cars being sold in China, I don't know too much about it, but I know China makes their own cars. And we don't have cars here that are made in China, right? So it's kind of happening in both ways, right? Because I think some of their EVs, for instance, I've seen some of the videos. They got a lot better EVs than we got here in the United States, but we don't see them because,
seen the fires
we don't.
That those EVs are causing. They're really a big problem in China.
Well,
because
it's not that though. I should be able to purchase whatever car I want to purchase, right? According to you, right? Just like you believe China should they should have to buy American cars. You got to let the consumers make those decisions, in my opinion.
Let me get a word in. Hang on. So yes, I used to believe that, and we gave cheap tariffs to Japan after World War II. The president of Japan asked for those for Japan. Do you know who the president was?
When you say you gave cheap tariffs to Japan, are you saying there were?
I did. I said America did.
Okay, was it a blanket tariff or were they targeted?
Blanket tariff.
Okay,
tariffs
on all products.
All products.
Oh, okay. And so now what?
So Japan could import anything they wanted at very low tariff. Honda, the man that made Honda motorcycles, eventually Honda cars, he went traveling around to automotive manufacturers and motorcycle manufacturers and said, look, we have a 3,000-mile island right over there. All we have to do is produce what they want, and we can send it to them with very low tariff.
Okay, but listen, sir, I don't got all morning. I'm trying to really hone in on what your angle is. Are you saying all of this? Are you saying all of
my angle is of history?
But I'm not talking about history. We're talking about today. I don't need a history.
Today is history.
So
today will be history tomorrow.
So you're saying this to show you support
history.
You support Donald Trump's tariffs. That's ultimately where you're headed, right?
Right, and I'm telling you why we're there. I'm telling you why we're here where we are.
So you see the beautiful picture that he has that basically is reminiscent of the 1870s all the way to 1913?
1870s to 1913.
Right.
In what way? Where?
Well, he's talking about
tariffs paying for our government and not taxes.
Yeah.
What are you suggesting?
Yeah, because that's what he's ultimately saying that he's taking us to.
Would that be bad if every American making less than $150,000 a year don't pay taxes? Would that be bad?
Well, wouldn't you see a lot of revenue decrease from the federal government? How are you going to get rid of our national debt if people don't even have jobs to even pay for the things that are actually going to start costing more. I mean, to me, it just seems like a recipe for disaster. And I would wonder, why didn't anybody else try this?
Okay, because they're sold out.
You believe that?
Sold out. Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a fluke. Do you know what a fluke is?
No. What is a fluke?
It's an electrical instrument.
Oh, okay.
It cost me $325 back in 1994. I saved like crazy for it. Why? Because it was made in America. And I still have it to this day. And actually, I bought another fluke later. And then in 1996,
but can I say this?
Came to town, and I bought a fluke imitation for $20.
You drive car? What kind of car you drive?
I drive a Cadillac.
So you probably got parts in there that aren't made in the United States, at least.
Absolutely.
So you're not buying 100% American on there, and then you're on a
absolutely.
cell phone. What kind of cell phone do you use?
A China-made product, probably.
Okay, so you're probably using parts with your cell phone that aren't always made in America. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You can only be American you can only be 100% American up to a certain point. Do you drink coffee or anything like that? You eat avocados?
And I don't eat avocados.
But you drink coffee and stuff. You drink teas and things like that. Yeah.
Coffee is the one example. Coffee is the one example.
So no. What I'm basically pointing out to you is this: Donald Trump said to us during the campaign trail that he was going to get rid of inflation. You remember that? And he said things like groceries, they're too high. It's a beautiful word because you just put them in a bag and you walk out of the store. It's very simple. And he said the grocery prices are supposed to go down. Now, if we're talking about these tariffs, which you clearly are in support of, I just got to ask you one question. Who pays the tariff?
Let me ask you.
What, did you answer my question? Who pays the tariff?
We're going to pay the tariff.
We, the consumer, right?
Right.
So he's in essence. Wait a second, user. So in essence, he's justifying a huge tax increase on the American people, right?
How did all the automotive manufacturing go?
You're not answering my question, user. And again,
I've already told you.
So he's increasing taxes on Americans.
For me, we're not going to have a conversation.
Well, if you don't answer the questions, I've
already answered your question.
So
you just want to keep running around the same question.
What is the answer to my question?
The same question. You keep saying the same thing.
What is the answer? What is the
answer?
Okay, I didn't hear it.
I answered it twice.
Go for it.
I already told you. I said we'll pay the tariff.
Okay. So now you want me to swallow that hook, line, and sinker. In other words, you want me to take the medicine. And unfortunately, user, this is like Shark Tank, right? I'm not in. You can't convince me using anything from the past that increasing taxes on me is a good thing. I'm not into this temporarily suffering business like you are. You get what I'm saying? It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
What are we going to do in the future? If nothing's made here, what are we going to have?
If nothing is made here, there are things that can't be made here. You're going to have nothing. If you see where I'm going right now, how low do you need to go?
What can't be made here? What cannot be made here?
A lot of things.
Like what?
There's a lot of fruits. There's a lot of coffee. We brought that up. We got wines. You can even have car parts.
We make wine here. We make wine.
And actually, now that I think about it, we're in a very terrible situation because I doubt there's anything that you own right now that is 100% made in the United States.
Exactly, and it's upsetting to me.
Yeah, so this is a bad idea, right?
But see, I've owned an export company. You haven't, so you're not hearing what I'm saying.
You keep bringing that up. What is the export business you're in? Industry?
Automotive export business.
The automotive export business?
Yeah, automotive export business.
And how does that work? Wait. Wait a second. You're exporting vehicles.
Yes.
To what countries?
No, I don't export them anymore. The tariffs are too high. I can't export it.
Before you were exporting them, where were you?
I exported one car to Japan. Cost me $5,000 to export one vehicle.
Okay, that was your business,
right? And so they can bring a car from Japan, build it, and bring it into the country. The first car I exported was in 1993, and I spent $4,900 to export that vehicle back in 1993. I was sitting there working on a 1992 Honda Accord, and the price on that car was $10,888.
Okay, but again, I'm in 2025, not
Right? I get it.
1993, and
Okay,
things are a
how
lot
did we
different,
get to
brother.
where our automotive manufacturing went to Mexico? How did that happen?
Because they made a decision that it's cheaper to do it that way. Everyone that
No,
knows
no.
a business
No,
understands
that's
that.
not what happened.
Okay, well,
Manufacturers did not make that
Lord have
decision.
mercy.
How did that happen?
I just told you the
Our
answer.
Our president.
I just told you that.
Signed a bill.
They could have
What did you tell me?
still did it here in the United States. Obviously, it was cheaper to do it in Mexico or any other country.
Why
I know
would they-
that. It doesn't matter. It just tells me that you still are
No,
struggling.
We sold our country out.
Okay,
And
all right.
then our tax dollars.
User, I got to move on, brother. I think you and I.
Well, you have the thing is you have lots to learn from me, and I have nothing to learn from you. And I'm trying to help you out, understand this stuff. But you don't want to. You don't want to learn from.
No.
You have no idea how this.
Time out.
And all you're upset with is, hey, we might have to pay more in the future.
User.
I just told you about.
User. What can I learn? What can I learn from somebody that voted for the most incompetent person ever?
Right.
What could you teach me, honestly? And I'm being as respectful as I can because I'm gonna.
just telling you how that happened.
Seriously.
How did NAFTA happen?
User, you don't want to answer my.
Insults to Donald Trump. I don't give a shit. Insult him all you want. That doesn't hurt my.
Well,
feelings.
user, I asked you a serious question.
No, you didn't. When you say, "Well, how could you support the most terrible president?" No, that's an opinion. That's insult. That's an insulting question. That is not honest question.
No.
Not an honest.
You want me to explain why I asked that? Because I could move it on, but I gotta address this because I can't let it slide.
Go ahead.
Is Donald Trump? Does he have any evidence that he is a successful businessman in light of the fact that you listen to what I'm saying? Jesus, I gotta mute you. When we know he's got those bankruptcies, we know that he's been committing decades of fraud, right? And we already saw that he was president the first time, and he ended up getting impeached twice, and ended with, you know what happened on January 6th. I don't call that success. I call that chaos. All right. And where we're at right now, user, is we're in the middle of basically he's picking up where he left off. All right. And in between now and then, you had an opportunity to go and vote for him. And if you owned an export business, that means you heard him talking about doing blanket tariffs, and you still went and voted for him. So this tells me something's just not quite connecting. The dots aren't connecting in your mind or something. And so when you get up here and you want to take me all the way through the 80s and the 90s, the 60s and the 70s, God knows how many centuries you want to go back, and then try to snap me back here in 2025 and say, now, Zeus, don't you see this beautiful picture that I painted? I'm going to always reject it and say, no, brother, I don't see that picture. What I see is people are suffering right now. What I see are grocery prices going through the roof. What I see is there's no sign of relief because he's not getting rid of the tax on the tips. He's not getting rid of tax on overtime. He's not making it tax deductible when you pay your car payment for American cars. He's not doing any of these things. It's literally some sort of personal vendetta that he's got going on with these leaders of the country. And he keeps making excuse after excuse after excuse for why he needs to do these tariffs, even though it's making his own supporters suffer. I listened to David Portnoy. He talked about it. He's down over $20 million. All right. And these are just some of them. You go and listen to Charlie Kirk. They're not talking what you're talking, brother. And so with that being said, this is like Shark Tank, ladies and gentlemen, and I've heard enough. User, you sound like a great person, but brother, honestly, but unfortunately, I'm out. I don't want to buy what you're selling. I'm so sorry. And with that, there's going to be judgment. Ladies and gentlemen, that previous guest, all right, I'm going to warm up the lake of fire. I'm not an economist. I'm not embarrassed to admit I'm not an economist. But one thing I do know, 1 + 1 = 2. And if my money starts to act funny because of those tariffs, then I'm already not interested. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. User. Trump supporters that keep getting in my chat and they saying things like the stock market is rising, I want you to understand you do not get to claim any victory laps until it gets back to where it was when Joe Biden gave you this beautiful economy that was the envy of the world. W Zeus in the chat. Until the stock market returns to where it was when Joe Biden gave him this economy, you can sit here and try to celebrate all this nonsense you're doing, and I'm not buying it. All right, because I know we have an unstable person in the White House who at any moment could say or do something that could just take this situation and make it go down the drain like it's never been. All right? Again, to the people who are in my audience right now and you're getting worked up because I'm being very harsh on these Trump supporters that get in my box and they lie like a rug.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. With that being said, let's go to the box, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We don't got all day to do the same song and dance. Good morning, my brother Santana. How are you doing, champ? All right. I'm going to try to talk to someone that's a little bit more sane. Good morning, brother. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Listen, the problem that I have with do I have echo?
Nope. You're good.
Okay. Okay. So the problem that I have with the last guy is how disingenuous he was when he was talking about like NAFTA, right? And
Yeah.
how a lot of people like to say, "Oh, NAFTA, unalive manufacturing." No, that's not true. That's not true. It might have exacerbated it some, but there were other factors relating to what happened and why manufacturing actually left the US. And even more so, a lot of people don't talk about the need to not be a quote unquote manufacturing country, right?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with us picking something that we do extremely well and focusing on that and then allowing those other countries to do the things that we don't necessarily want to do. And I just don't get it why there's so many people that think for some reason, oh, we need to bring back making our own clothes and we need to bring back growing our own avocados or coffee beans and all this other stuff. It doesn't make sense.
Why not just bring back slavery, right?
Zeus?
You see what I'm saying? That's where they're trying to do it. You see what I just did? I just shortcut it straight to where they're trying to do it. All right, to the blacks for Trump. Welcome. You're welcome. I just gave you that. W Santana.
Zeus, if they could do it, they would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. But it's all silly. And then even when you talk about like I was looking at the stock markets, and for anyone saying, "Oh, look at the actual stock market rallying," Donald Trump is the cause of this. I mean, Donald Trump. The last time the stock market took this type of dip was because of C-19, right?
Yep.
And so the markets are responding and saying Trump is more unpredictable than a global pandemic that costs over 1 million Americans their lives. That's what the stock market is saying.
Wow. That's crazy. And Trump was president at the time when that happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it funny? It's so funny that he does this every time.
Yeah. And Zeus, the thing that's interesting to me is the reason why, and I don't know if you caught this, but the reason why the markets yesterday didn't completely tank out, it was because there was the fake tweet that was circulating, and people had a little bit of confidence that Trump was actually going to pull back on those tariffs, and they had to come out and say, "Nope, we're not pulling back on any tariffs." So there's that.
And do we know where that fake tweet came from? Because I can't help but wonder who was really behind that, right? That seems like something the Trump administration might do in order to save face. Oh, yeah, someone wrote lies. No, this is true. This is true. What he's saying is true.
It's DJ. Yeah, no, literally there was actual conversation about, oh, Donald Trump might actually be pulling back on some of the tariffs, and he had to come out and say, no, I'm not pulling back on any of the tariffs. And on top of that, since China had the 34% retaliatory tariffs, Donald Trump is now threatening another 50% on for China. So like all of these things are the reasons why the markets are continue to actually be more volatile. So
Mm.
that's where we are.
Wow, wow, wow. So would you say a lot of this, Santana, is self-inflicted?
Yeah, Zeus. I mean, like the thing is that, and we've seen this. We've talked about this. Joe Biden handed Donald Trump the best possible outcome as far as
Economy.
the economy. Yes.
Right. It was one of the most beautiful economies we've ever seen. Wasn't it the envy of the world?
Yeah, I mean, we had the fastest economic recovery of any G7 country after C-19, and we understood that
Dang.
even Joe Biden grew manufacturing jobs within the United States. I mean, he brought back manufacturing, and he actually had so many different things on the uptick. And now we're in a position where there is a 60, this is from JP Morgan Chase, a 60% chance that we're going into a recession, right? And we also understand that Jerome Powell is saying that we're going to have to increase interest rates and just
Mm.
keep it there, right? So it's multiple things that Donald Trump didn't have to do, but we're heading towards it because this is what he wanted to do.
This. I just don't get it. Why do Trump supporters still have faith in this man when the writing is clearly on the wall? We were literally doing so good. He could have literally leaned back in his chair in the Oval Office and not done a thing, and the economy would have taken care of itself.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, we understand that's what he did with, his first administration, right? He rolled Barack Obama's economy, which I don't blame him, right? If it's something that's trending in the right direction, then go for it. But Donald Trump has this idea that he's the smartest man in the room, right? Listen, Eric, no, I'm sorry, Don Jr. Don Jr. said this before the actual administration started to
Hmm.
take shape. He said that we're going to bring people in. He said we're going to bring the best people in, but we're going to bring people in that understand that they're not the smartest person in the room. My dad is.
Yeah.
Zeus, there's an old saying that if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get out of that room.
Thank you. Listen, W Santana. Santana is delivering so much truth right now, and I hope you supporters of Donald Trump are actually being very, very grateful that he's taken time out of his busy morning to give you all some information to digest and actually meditate on. It's embarrassing that you don't know this already and you claim you got smartphones. He's not fabricating lies.
Yeah. No, listen, Zeus. I mean, it's really. I've continued to try to have this conversation because, like Zeus, we're in this thing together, right?
Yeah.
And I think the sooner people start to understand what's happening and really start to make that shift, then the country could actually possibly make a turn. And I know you were talking about. I always mess up his last name. David was it Portney?
Portnoy?
Portnoy.
Yeah.
Portnoy. David Portnoy, Aiden Ross, Ben Shapiro, like all of them are turning on Trump, right? And then you even see, like, I don't know if you saw this, but Elon Musk brother apparently was on the old Twitter or X, if you want to call it, but whatever,
Yeah.
mass retweeting, like talking about how horrible Donald Trump is and how horrible these tariffs are,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone understands like this is a bad idea, but for some reason Trump supporters are still leaning into it, but hopefully they'll make that turn.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Well, listen, brother, I appreciate that, and we'll try to. I might have to bring you back up, depending, because you got a lot of haters in this live looking for you. But if there's a rehabilitation moment, I'm definitely going to have to bring you up again, Santana, because what we're trying to do, honestly, it's thankless work, but we're trying to wake people up who are still in this cult, and they're ruining their own lives because they are holding on to this dream that one day they can, smell that dirty diaper of Donald Trump's, right?
Yeah, no, listen, Zeus, I'll be in the chat. I'm always here, but the one thing that I'll say is you said this and I completely agree with you. I don't know what these people are talking about, but I'm not into this short-term pain for anything. Like
No.
that's weird. I have no interest in the, self-inflicted wounds. Count me out.
Count me out as well,
Yeah.
brother. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, because what I don't do is you're not going to trick me into giving you $100,000 and then you're going to go bend a few corners and bring me back $200,000 and you've never, and then you're not doing it for yourself. So if you can't do it for yourself, why you need me to invest, right?
Ain't no way, Zeus. Ain't no way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. W's in the chat for Santana. Make sure you're following him. All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Seriously. All righty then, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Who do we have next? Any Trump supporters out there? We got Scott Jennings. I'm gonna call DJ Scott Jennings. Marissa. Hey, DJ. What's going on? Are you okay right now?
Oh, I'm great, Zeus. How are you, bud?
Well, I could be obviously better if you guys would stand up to Donald Trump and stop waiting for the Democrats to bail you out of all these nasty situations you're in.
Stand up to him and what?
You should definitely stop him from doing these tariffs, right? Because you see what it's doing to this economy, right? It's not a good thing. Whatever it is that he's trying to accomplish, he could have went about and done it in a better way that didn't result in Americans losing their 401ks, right?
So Zeus, you're okay with the trade imbalance, and you're okay with people putting tariffs on us that we don't reciprocate, and that kind of thing. You're okay with all that?
Was it happening in prior administrations?
It's been happening, yes, for a very long time.
And my 401k reflected that it was okay. My 401k literally said it's fine. Whatever they've been doing, it could be better, obviously, because I want more money. But it was way better than what we got going on right now.
What you've got going on right now has been happening for how long, Zeus?
Since Trump did Liberation Day.
And how long ago was that?
April 2nd.
Okay, so you're talking about not even a week or a week? Is that what you're talking about? So
Correct.
You're judging what's going to happen based on a week or 1 week. When you've already seen that there are 50 or 60 countries that are coming to the United States and want to negotiate these tariffs now. And you saw that, I mean, I'm not, the stock market is what the stock market is. I'm not trying to brag that it's going up, because it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Okay.
Right. Can I ask you about those 50, 60 countries?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Those 50 to 60 countries you said that are coming and basically bending the knee. Where did you get that?
Said that. I never said anybody was bending the knee.
Okay, so they're wanting to negotiate. 70 countries. Bill Buckeye in the chat said he's on your side. Who's giving you those numbers? The 70 countries have already came to them. Where'd you get that from?
Grok.
And where do you think they got it from?
Different news organizations.
Probably Donald Trump himself. A lot of the stuff that the right-wing community believes comes from Donald Trump. When you drill down,
run information through Grok, Zeus?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, I ran it, and not just Grok, but there's all other.
It's unfair. You're thinking that it's unfair. It's biased.
So there's a lot of AI products, right? We can use ChatGPT,
right.
You can use Copilot, but if you understand AI is not, it's novel right now, right? It's still got a lot of bugs that need to be worked out. What they'll do is they'll get you the information, but you still should have the ability to also think beyond where they're getting it, because when you start asking AI, where are you getting this from? What you'll find out is a lot of the news that the right-wing community spreads, it starts with Donald Trump. And that's where I have questions, right? So when I heard 70 or so countries are demanding Donald Trump negotiate, I'm saying, well, who's saying that? And the first person that I found made that statement was Donald Trump himself. But I'm looking all over the earth and I'm going, well, I want to make sure this is true. So what are the 70 countries? The one with the penguins on it, they came in and negotiated? Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm saying it's been 1 week. It's been 1 week, Zeus.
Would it be safe to say that this is now?
Excuse me?
Go for it. You said it's been 1 week?
Yeah, it's been 1 week, and you're judging exactly how it's going to work or how it's not going to work in 1 week. I think you need to give it a little bit. You can get a little bit of time.
Okay. So let's do it like this. How much time? Let's imagine there's a brick wall right in front of you, right? You see where I'm going with this? And I'm
You're gonna need to keep going, bro.
rev that engine up, and get the speedometer up to 100 miles an hour. All right. How much time do you need to do that in order to realize this is a terrible idea?
Zeus.
Do you really need to run it? Do you really need? Huh?
The policies that he's implemented need more than a week. We're already starting to see some results from it. We're already starting to see some countries.
Like what?
Like what? Like Vietnam, like England, like countries that are out there that are, want to negotiate these tariffs.
What is the deal? What is he going to do with these countries when they come? They're still, remember, no matter what you do, if you get rid of the tariffs, there's still possibly going to be a trade imbalance because there's just some things you'll never get in the United States. Like the coffee. I always go back to the coffee because I know it's the one thing every American it's near and dear to. You're never going to have a surplus when it comes to the trade between the United States and, Brazil when it comes to coffee. It'll never happen, bro, even if you get rid of the tariffs.
We don't have to have a positive. I'm not saying that there's not going to be any circumstances where it's a negative trade imbalance.
Oh.
But the imbalance that we have right now is not good for the United States.
In your opinion, because my 401k says otherwise, right? Remember,
keep bringing up the 401k, Zeus.
Because that's how I plan to retire. That's how a lot of people plan to retire. And when you tank the 401k,
Zeus, what percentage of the average Americans do you think have money in the stock market?
From what I understand, a good chunk, over 50%. From what I understand, I think if in some cases, maybe
you need to look that up again.
In one way or another, a majority of Americans got money tied up in the stock market in ways they might not even understand, either directly or indirectly. And at the end of the day, DJ, if under Biden my 401k was doing great, right? There's nothing you can tell me to make me feel like you just took all that money from me and that I should just go ahead and cross over into the afterlife peacefully. No, I'm out, DJ. Listen, don't take any money from Zeus. All right, whatever you're doing, don't do that. But if you do take the money from me, I don't trust you. I just don't trust you.
And so what you're telling me is Donald Trump is the only politician that you've dealt with that's taken money from you. Is that what you're saying?
Like this, absolutely. Because wouldn't you say these tariffs are 100% his fault? Or would you go back and try to blame a Democrat like Joe Biden?
All right, say that again, please.
Who told Donald Trump to do these tariffs? It's his. This is 100% his moment.
Oh, it is absolutely 100%.
Thank you. All right, so W Zeus in the chat.
Did he campaign on this week?
No, he never campaigned on this.
He never campaigned on tariffs?
No, not the way that he's doing it. He was talking about maybe doing 20%, 25% at the max. But what that chart he did, oh no. Remember, he was supposed to use tariffs to address, the cartel, right? Remember that was the reason he did it.
What's the chart that you're referring to, Zeus?
On Liberation Day, where he gave us those bogus percentages about reciprocal tariffs.
Oh, they were all bogus.
Yeah, because they're basically tied to the trade deficit. Well, we know enough about where he got the numbers from. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what Donald Trump knows. As far as I'm concerned, he's just lying his way through this. But my point to you, DJ, and this is serious. My 401k was doing great under Joe Biden. Today it's not doing so great, and Donald Trump's the president. He decided to do these blanket tariffs, all right, because one, I thought he was trying to stop illegal immigration. Remember that? Illegal immigration and the stuff the cartel was bringing into the country. That was his first reason for trying to use tariffs. Then he said somehow he's going to bring then he changed it and said, well, I'm trying to bring manufacturing back to the country, right? These are the excuses that he's giving us now. And then he said, oh, it's part of our national security, right? And so we're just at a point now, DJ. We're at a point now where we don't really know why he's doing this. Now he's talking about trade deficits and things like that, and he wants to, make other countries play fair. There's no real reason for why he's doing these tariffs. And you Trump supporters,
there's a reason that you're leading. I'm assuming you're leading to the point that, that what he's actually doing it for. You're saying that he said if it was this, it's not this. You said it's this, it's not this. You said it's this, it's not this. What do you think it is, Zeus?
I don't know how to explain it to you, but I'll say this.
Because you don't know the answer to the question, right?
I don't think anyone does. Unless you do.
Donald Trump has been very clear. He's trying to fix the trade imbalance. He's trying to bring more money into the country. He's trying to do all of the things that you talked about. The illegal immigration. Did we or did we not solve the problem at the border? Is that problem solved?
I don't know. I can't really validate that because as far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden deported more people than Trump has, right? And I believe the issue is Donald Trump said he's supposedly going to deport over 11 million Americans. I was talking to a Trump supporter the other day. That's around 270,000 or so per month. So I don't think Donald Trump is really doing a good job. I would expect to see a lot more deportations occurring, to be quite honest.
You'll be happy with more deportations is what
no, I personally wouldn't be, but in order for him to meet the
just said, Zeus,
but no,
important enough people.
No, that's two separate things, right? One is is he delivering? Is he accomplishing his goal? And then how I feel about it. Those are two separate things, right? I'm just pointing out that he's not accomplishing his goal. All right, so I'm going to give him an F on that. And to be honest,
you're going to give him an F on the border.
Yeah, okay. and then the second thing is, I would prefer that the legislation to address immigration actually get passed in Congress. Has he passed any bills in Congress that actually address immigration? So I'm gonna give him an F. I'm going to give him an F. All right, you can go ahead and look at this.
What did you give Joe Biden?
That's not even here or there at this point. We're talking about Donald Trump. But you know what? You know what? I'll say this. Joe Biden, he probably could have did a lot more, a lot sooner. I'll give you that. How about that, DJ? All right. You see how I can be
really quick. I just want to say one thing really quick, Zeus. Your number on people that own stocks is correct. I was wrong. Okay.
Oh, okay, W. Zeus.
And guess where I got the information?
Where?
Well,
I'm not saying Grok is wrong all the time. That's not the issue. I'm just pointing out to you some of the information they give you comes from Donald Trump on this AI stuff. And you got to be sensitive to that reality as well, because AI, it'll get you close, but you still got to verify. You still got to understand. You got to do your part as the human being in this. All right.
All right. You do know that Grok gives you the articles that it retain the information from, right?
Sometimes
the articles.
And the sources of the articles could end up coming from the Trump administration.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trained at this. All right. I'm
flipping that pancake, man. That's all right. That's cool.
Well, no, it's just I understand how MAGA works, and I understand Donald Trump is always going to give you a weekly supply of lies.
I understand how you and the left work too.
No, you don't.
You pick a subject and you pick a way that you want to interpret it, and anything else is just a lie. I mean, you guys talk about
there's one thing that I get
fake news.
Yeah,
you guys are just as big on the fake news thing as Donald Trump ever was.
Okay. Well, this is the thing, right? You just keep holding on to those hopes and prayers that Donald Trump is going to deliver those golden envelopes, DJ. You know, the Doge ones. And when you get your golden envelope, then you come back to me, and I promise you, I'll apologize. But I don't forget the lies. I don't forget them. I want the $5,000 that he said he was going to get us.
Either, Zeus.
Okay. Well, do you have the golden envelope from Doge with checks from Donald Trump and Elon signed?
Absolutely not.
Okay, W. Zeus in the chat. So, okay, but a lot of the lies about the waste, fraud, and abuse that Doge found, it came directly from the Trump administration, right? And you could find articles to validate that this is what they were saying. But when it was all said and done, a lot of it came out to be misinformation or flat out lies.
That anything that they have found has been true, or you're saying it's?
I'm looking at everything that they're saying is true, and then I'm verifying. You know, RFK basically he's now backtracking and encouraging people to actually take the vaccine for measles. Now you know that, right? But think about all the.
Seen that, but
okay. Well, you should go look into it. But think about all the harm that he caused with the misinformation out there. A lot of people hang on to everything these people say.
Are you really trying to equate the measles outbreak to RFK?
Yeah.
Seriously trying to do that?
Yeah.
For someone who's been in his position for 2 months.
I refuse to allow that to be an excuse. How many airplanes do you think is acceptable to fall out of the
Oh,
sky?
here we go with the airplanes again, man. This is so weak, man. You got to come up with something better than that.
Okay, but listen, if you take over the Department of Transportation and an airplane falls out of the sky on day one, don't you think we should hold you accountable? Or do you get to go give a press? Do you think you get to go give a press conference that says, "Well, I just got in here. I don't know what I'm doing." Obviously, we hired you because we believe you're the best and the brightest, and we didn't want to pick someone in here just to make it a DEI hire, DJ. So once again, DJ, I think you got a lot to.
These things that have nothing to do with what we were originally talking
It
about.
actually does.
The point that you're trying to equate everything bad that happens to Trump. Nothing bad ever happened under any other president other than Donald Trump. You've got Trump derangement syndrome so bad, man, that it just. I mean, I saw a video that you did yesterday where you were making fun of that he posted when he's going to do his physical. I mean, is there anything that the man can do that you're not going to criticize?
I've already answered that. The answer is if he resigns, then you know what? I'll say W's in the chat for Donald Trump. If he resigns.
You don't think that all of this is hurting the overall picture? You don't think that this refusal to see anything but negative is not hurting you? And if you're, I'm assuming you're a Democrat. I'm assuming that.
No.
Would you consider yourself to be a Democrat?
What? No. Oh, yeah. That part's true. But I don't believe what you're saying is true. I actually think it's the other way around. I think your inability to actually see Donald Trump for who he is hurting you, right?
You've heard me criticize Donald Trump many times. You know that you have.
Well, you've tried to, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done.
Okay, but I didn't do it to your satisfaction.
Correct. That is correct because you have no way to
100% anything that any president has ever done.
Well, why did you?
A lot of things that the Republican Party believes in.
But DJ, and goes back to the previous guest. The guest said, "I want to try to teach you something, Jesus." And I asked him, I said, "What can you teach me after you voted for the most incompetent person ever?" Do you understand what that does? It's like you've done something. Okay, fair enough. But you're in a doghouse with a lot of people, DJ, because we can't seem to wrap our minds around how you ignored all of the warning signs and still did this. It takes your credibility. You might honestly be telling the truth, DJ, but that elephant in the room is very, very difficult to ignore. Because now we got to question your judgment about things. There's no way that you're going to be able to convince me you would have voted for Donald Trump. Or let's just do it this way. It's like Obama said in his interview. Imagine if Obama did what Donald Trump is doing. Right? Imagine. Y'all got on this man. I don't know if it was you directly, but y'all got on him over a tan suit. Imagine him igniting a trade war. Imagine Obama leading an armed mob of people to the Capitol on January 6th. And actually, I should say people of color on January 6th. Showed up to the Capitol, DJ. I know you know, and I said it at the top of my show. The number one thing the United States has manufactured from day one has always been racism in this country. No other country manufactures and sells racism like the United States of America. And the illusion that a lot of people are trying to make happen right now is that somehow it all disappeared. It's all gone. We're living now in 2025. There's no more racism. No, that's the number one product still. And you know, just like I know, DJ, if Obama would have done anything like this, all hell would have broken loose.
All right, tell me what race has to do with the tariffs, please.
If Obama would have told you to suffer, all right, and let him put blanket tariffs on and lied about the rates he was using, because the rates he's using isn't the real tariff rate. It's something he got out of ChatGPT based off the trade deficit. If Obama would have done that in a tan suit, we would literally be in a civil war right now. I firmly believe that. Y'all would never have sat back.
The we have in this country is that people keep bringing it up. That's the biggest race problem that we have in this country. Absolutely. I didn't
So wait a second.
President of the United States, I didn't judge him and his policies based on the color of his skin. And I'm quite confident that you don't base do you base Donald Trump's policies on the color of his skin, Zeus?
The orange man?
There you go. Well, that you just answered the question right there.
I know, because
you
DJ
just answered the question. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
DJ, let's
Yeah.
not pretend like it's not really what it is. Like I said, if Obama would have done this, DJ, you're going to try to tell me you Trump supporters would have sat back and said this is all good? When I know you got on this man over a tan suit? DJ,
Dude,
I may have been
I'm
born at
68
night,
years
DJ,
old, dude.
and
I've
you
seen
should know
many
better.
presidents. I've seen many presidents.
So has
I gave
racism left
every
this country,
president
DJ?
The opportunity. I
DJ,
gave Biden the opportunity to do what he
DJ,
needed to do.
DJ, has racism left this country? I just gave you the information that it's been the one thing, the one product that America continues to manufacture.
Why do you think
Very
that is,
well?
Zeus? Why do you think it is?
Because it's ingrained in this. It's
profitable, Zeus. Because racism is profitable.
Okay, so
That's
with that
the
being
bottom
said, DJ,
Yes.
now you understand why I said what I said. If you agree that racism is profitable, and it clearly was because slavery was profitable, right? But it wasn't profitable for the people that were the victim of it. It wasn't profitable for.
Is race baiting profitable, Zeus?
It could be.
Yes, sir. I mean,
There's a market for everything, DJ, but I want you to understand this. And this is why it's not going to sit well with me. I know for a fact that if Obama was doing what Donald Trump is doing, you all would not swallow it proudly. You wouldn't do it. So with that being said, DJ, there's always going to be that elephant in the room, right? Until you come to grips and recognize, like, yeah, I am struggling when it comes to acknowledging these things that I tend to be biased about. You got a phone call.
How much were you around when Obama was president?
I think I was here in the United
I'm not trying to
States.
ask you your age, but you remember Obama being president, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've already told you this before, that I'm in the mortgage industry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Obama came into presidency at the worst time ever in the mortgage industry, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people that wanted to blame Obama for that. And I can assure you that I was not one of those people blaming Obama. Obama walked into a horrible situation. Did I agree with everything that Obama did to solve that situation? No, I did not. But I damn sure didn't blame it on Obama.
But there were people you said that wanted to. And
Absolutely.
that's my point, DJ.
That's where we're at right now, man. Everybody is looking to point a blame instead of saying, hey, let's come up with a solution. And I'm not trying to sound like we're all going to sing Kumbaya and everything else, because we're just not going to agree on things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some point where the left says, you know what? Maybe we're doing this the wrong way. Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong.
You think the
we
left
have different of opinions?
Okay.
But there's got to be somewhere in the middle. Everything Donald Trump is going to do is not going to be wrong.
All right.
You won't admit it.
All right. Well, listen, DJ, this has been a very interesting discussion, and I think you've opened up a serious can of worms. I'm going to bring up other people, and they've heard what you said. Do you want to talk to them, perhaps? Because
I've got a few minutes, Zeus.
Okay.
A few minutes. I'm fine, man.
We'll
let me up here. I'll stay up here and respect your show, man.
All right, let's go.
You want to get me cooked? I understand that.
No, I don't need to do that. You've already cooked yourself, but you know what we'll do?
Maybe I have.
All right, we'll do it like this. Hey, Takesha.
Hey, Zeus, how you doing?
Yeah.
DJ.
Hi, Takesha. I'm going to mute myself, okay?
Okay, sweetie. You know, Zeus, that last statement DJ made about the Democrats.
Yeah.
You know, they want us to work together now, DJ. Y'all need to stop. Zeus, we're not gonna sing "Hold Up the Light, Say the Word from Darkness" and get them our flashlights. When y'all get to the point where y'all realize what y'all did was basically unalive yourselves in your financial situations, then don't run to us. I get sick of hearing them say, well, we're going to just be, we're going to burn for a little bit and prices going to go up just a little while. But the end results, Zeus, they need to quit acting like they not bothered by losing money. They keep talking about how many people in the stock market. Y'all weren't concerned about the percent of people when Joe Biden had a bad day on the stock market. Then it was everybody losing
Amen.
money. But now all of a sudden, because, the rich folks are the most people in the stock market, and it's only a certain percentage of other people, now it's okay because them folks ain't really losing no money because it really benefit the rich folks. Y'all weren't talking like that when Joe Biden was in office.
Amen. Go ahead, W, Takesha.
a whole different tune for Donald Trump. Well, we voted for him because he wasn't a politician. The first thing that make you a politician is when you lie. So he was the biggest politician that could have ever stepped up on the scene.
Amen.
But if you keep a people stagnant, Zeus,
Yes.
you can keep a people stupid.
Mm.
I'm going to say it again.
Go ahead.
If you can keep a people stagnant, you can keep a people stupid.
Thank you.
Half of these people do not know what Joe Biden did because our...
Come on back, Takesha. We wasn't done.
Because all Donald Trump fed them was prices are high. They never took the time, Zeus, to go and figure out why. They never took the time to go and see what Joe Biden was doing. And so that's why they keep saying Joe Biden did this. Joe Biden had the worst this. Joe Biden had the worst that. When in actuality, Joe Biden did a good job of recovering us from what he inherited. But they'll never know because they never took the time to go past their stagnant state. And let me say this.
Go ahead, Takesha. Yeah. W, Takesha in the chat. All right, W, Rick.
Donald Trump.
Somebody asking what Biden did. Oh, they don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. Sorry, Takesha. Go for it.
Joe Biden recovered us faster than any country.
Thank you.
From COVID. When he left office, inflation was at a 2.6%. That's why they lowered interest rates.
Where'd you go, Takesha? Come on back. I know they calling you.
That's why they lowered interest rates twice under him. Because they saw that he was doing a good job with the economy. If y'all weren't so busy with that Trump wax in your ear while he was feeding y'all all them lies, y'all would have taken the time to figure it out. You know why they didn't lower it when Trump got in?
Why?
Because they don't trust him.
Ooh.
Because the tariffs are a bad thing. They talking about 70 countries have already contacted Trump. Baby, that phone drier than a powder house. Ain't no country calling Trump. Ain't no country calling Trump trying to negotiate a doggone thing. Give us the names of the countries. Let us go read their news to see what they're saying.
Amen.
Because I don't trust Donald Trump and nothing his administration says. He came out the other day lying to me. The man said that was the greatest thing he could have done. That man, whole publicist, had to come out and say he never said that. So y'all can keep believing Donald Trump and all these lies. Like when he told China, if they don't back up.
Oh, Takesha, you getting them calls.
If they don't bag off, he gonna...
Oh, Takesha, you getting them calls.
If they don't bag off, he gonna put another 50% on them. Get what China came out and
What
said.
What they say?
And we gonna come back with something else.
Thank you.
Nobody is scared of Donald Trump, but y'all.
Thank you. Listen up, MAGA Queen. Takesha is cooking you some breakfast this morning. It's time to come eat some of this kibble. W, Takesha. Takesha, go ahead. You got them triggered in the chat, but you're educating their brains. You're rattling it. Please continue.
Again, ain't no country called Donald Trump. Ain't no country called Donald Trump.
Thank you. Country. We don't have kings here.
They are not afraid of him. Period, point blank. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to be quiet.
Go ahead.
I kept telling y'all at the beginning of this administration, Trump is going to ruin America because he's a narcissist. And narcissists hate to be rejected. And the fact that we rejected him in 2020, this is America's retribution. He's going to destroy us. He's going to have us against our allies, and he calling with the enemies. Y'all gonna see it. Y'all didn't believe what I told y'all about the trade market that was gonna get messed up. I told y'all that, the more people he coddles to, the more ignorant the people are. They don't know what they're doing. And y'all can't see it. So stop it with the short-term hurt, because it's affecting y'all and y'all do care. Stop coming out trying to look like y'all Rocky Balboa.
Thank you.
Fight the Russian because you're afraid.
Amen.
And stop acting like you're not.
Thank you. Thank you. W, Takesha in the chat. This is what we call a complete annihilation. DJ, DJ, I notice your knees are getting weak and they're wobbling right now. You okay? DJ, are you okay, DJ? Because what you just endured right now, I don't know what you can say after that, to be honest with you. It's a TKO.
I'm perfectly fine, but I am never ever going to disrespect that lady. Never.
That's the smartest thing you've said, DJ. W, you know what? I'll give you a round of applause. All right, that's the very wise thing.
I
Well,
have spoken before. She put me in my place. I am never going to question that woman.
Mm.
We don't agree on things, but you will never hear me disrespect her. Ever.
That's the smartest thing you've done, DJ. Oh my gosh, you're tricking Zeus. Wow, you can be rehabilitated.
I respect you for that, DJ, but it's not disrespecting me when you still state your values, sir. I don't have a problem with you stating what you believe. What I'm saying is you gotta stop thinking that Donald Trump is the cat's meow. My only problem with you, DJ, and it's the only problem I really have with you. Yes, you will criticize Donald Trump, but you'll come right back and vindicate that criticism. And that's my problem with you.
That part.
Try to look at it from all sides, Takesha.
So
That's the only
Takesha, is he like? You think that he's like lukewarm? You know, the good book talks about what happens if you're lukewarm, right?
I think it's like, I really think it's like this, like most Trump supporters. They know in their hearts that some of the stuff Trump doing wrong, but their lips won't say it because of their adoration for him. They want him to be good. They want him to be the best president. They want him to do right. And they know some of the stuff Trump doing ain't right, but they'll never be able to say it because their hearts won't let them.
Thank you. You hear that, DJ?
No. She's right. There's lots of things he does I don't agree with, but I support what he's trying to do. So, does that make me a hypocrite, Takesha?
No, but DJ, he's not trying to do anything. If Congress and some of the Republican senators and stuff are coming out trying to come up with a bill to take their tariff power back, then you know what he's doing is not right, baby. They've been in office longer than us. They know the rules. They know the effects of what's going on. And if they're against what he's doing, then what he's doing is not gonna work. See, that's the problem. Nobody can tell a narcissist what to do because they think they're absolutely right. He needs to sit down.
Thank you.
Listen to people's advice and take it and stop thinking that he knows everything and everybody else knows nothing.
You hear that, DJ?
I hear her.
All right. Well, listen, you've taken your behind whooping like a man this morning. And I think that's enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, W's in the chat for Takesha. I gotta move the show on, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. DJ, nice try, but go back and wherever you got what you gotta tell them they sold you a bad batch, champ. All right, W Zeus in the chat too. All right, you two.
It's all good, man. Time will tell.
All right,
give it a chance. That's all.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, that's a show of force. W's in the chat for the Democrats. You're not going to be able to get anything through, MAGA. None of those lies are ever going to be able to penetrate because guess what we do over here? We keep the door to the floor. No tadpole wiggle tail will get through. All right, W, Rick in the chat. They don't like me because we tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. And to the people in my chat, especially you, MAGA Queen, and all of you who are sitting here going, what did Joe Biden do? And getting triggered because the Democrats are actually telling the truth. All right, do us a huge favor.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
There you go. All right. Oh, who do we got? We got two guests. All right, we got two guests. I didn't know this was going to happen. Kentucky girl, how are you? I think we got. Hold on, Kentucky girl. D. Will, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you said that who's lying up here? You think I am?
I do.
Okay, all right. Well, listen.
Or you're in denial. One or the
okay.
other. I don't know which one.
All right. Well, listen. This is a fresh conversation, D. Will. This is a very fresh conversation. So let's go ahead and unpack what's going on with you, if you don't mind. How are you doing? So what are we lying about?
Well, the simple fact that everything that Trump does is wrong, as far as you're concerned, is the biggest lie. So here's the thing. Not only did Biden lie for the 4 years, well, he didn't actually lie. His whole cabinet did. He was fine. He was fine. The simple fact is that we know that he was never actually running anything during the entire time that he was in president.
There, that's a lie.
No, it's not a lie.
Yeah, you started with a lie.
So here's the deal. We have plenty of his people coming out and saying that he wasn't in
Who?
charge.
Who?
All of them.
Who?
What's her name? Mindy Lee or whatever her name is.
Talking about what?
Multiple people come out.
Sir,
and
we
say
haven't
that
seen
he
a
was
single person
lying.
come out from the Biden administration say that he wasn't running things. Not one.
No, never.
So you want to try that
Really?
again? You want to try that again, D. Will? Is that you want us to call you D. Will? Because we're a very respectful bunch up here. All right, but I'm doing this only because I know that we're running short on time, and so I want to make sure, D. Will, am I calling you the right thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we understand. Does anyone up here think Joe Biden was? You said he was.
But that's beside the point. I'm not going to win against somebody thinking something.
Okay.
When she was
I'm not
all
thinking
over
something,
every
sir.
news
You'd
channel
actually
out
have to
there
present
saying
a
that-
piece of. See, here's the
that-
thing, sir. Y'all want to come up here and spew talking points that come off of social media, but you do not want to back it with a story that actually says these things happen. Okay? We actually do that. I'll give you my sources. Okay? And I'm going to talk about sources because you come up here and you keep going, well, you know, Donald Trump, y'all, you argue about Donald Trump hasn't done anything right. Well, sir, that's because by sources, he hasn't done anything right. And let's talk about something that's come up a few times today. Okay? We were talking about trade imbalances, sir. He sent out a list of 70 countries that we are supposedly have a trade imbalance with. In that list, he put this mathematical formula in that list. Okay? Well, one, that mathematical formula is not how you figure trade imbalance, first off. Okay? Second off, there is 3 pages of 10% tariffs on countries that we actually have a trade surplus with.
Oh.
This man has put 10% tariffs on countries we actually have a trade surplus with.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of business person you are or what you understand about economics, but when you put tariffs on a country that we actually have a trade surplus with, you're going to kill that surplus.
D. Will, you heard that?
I heard that. I don't. The difference is here's the deal. Before the income tax was established, how did we pay for things in the United States?
Sir, what was the percentage
answer
of
the
people?
question.
No, I know where you're going to go with this,
Army.
but I'm going to ask you the questions that's real important.
No,
What
no,
was the
I
percentage
asked you
of
the question.
Americans
It's really
at that
important.
time that were in province?
And then I think Dubs could give us the answer on that. Dubs, would you happen to know after he answers Val's question? Would you know the answer to that, Dubs? I don't know if Dubs.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. I'm sorry.
Oh, because he's asking a question about when we were living off the tariffs in this country.
Now, I know when we were living off the tariffs.
I know you know. I know you know. We're spreading the love a little bit, but
1800s.
but
Do we really need to go back this far, people?
So
Women
what
can
was
vote,
what? Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you a
indoor
question.
plumbing, like seriously?
Yeah. What was the percentage of the country that was living in poverty at that time?
Ooh, great fucking question.
D. Will, did you hear the question?
I have no clue. I can look it up.
Okay, that's fine. It's because we were trying to facilitate this discussion as quick as
Obviously
possible.
You're asking a question, but I'm on my phone, so the ability
Okay.
to look it up is limited.
Well, if you don't know, if you don't know,
Apparently,
if you don't know, because I say it all the time when people ask me questions, it's totally okay to admit you don't know.
Almost 80% of the country, sir, lived in poverty at the time. That is why we went to an income tax system.
No, that is not the reason why. We
Oh,
went
yes,
to
it is,
income
sir.
taxes.
It is actually truly the reason. Because of
Really?
federal
Who
income tax,
decided that
because
we
of
were gonna
federal
go to
income
income
tax, sir,
taxes?
our people have grown.
Who decided we were going to go to income taxes?
That was done back years ago, and that would have been Congress.
No,
That was done back centuries ago, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say.
no, it wasn't centuries ago.
Yes, it
Val,
was.
can I,
One
Val, can I,
century
can I,
ago.
Val, can I ask you a question really
1913.
quick? Val, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Didn't he just say he didn't know, but yet he's going to tell you that you're wrong about something that he doesn't know?
Oh yeah, he's going to try to.
No. You said you asked a particular question.
But you said I don't know, and then Val proceeded
Well,
to tell
I asked
you,
when-
and you said to him,
the
"Oh
income
no,
tax
that's not
system,
it."
And you said Congress. It wasn't done by Congress. It was done by J.P. Morgan and 5 other freaking bankers.
J.P. Morgan can't make the country move to income taxes, sir. It was done by Congress. My God, please at least have a basic understanding of how government works.
Really?
D. Will,
You think so?
D. Will, what part of the country are you in, if you don't mind?
I'm in the great freaking state of Colorado. Getting freaking bluer every day.
And your what? It's no offense, but would it be safe to say you have your master's degree in economics?
You know, the difference in a master's degree in economics and a master's degree in common sense is 2 different stories.
Okay, so you believe that you have a master's degree in common sense.
Well, more than what we're trying to say here, you think that at the time that in 1913, when that Congress is the one to put it forward, you're full of crack. This was done on Jekyll Island right off the coast of Georgia.
Hey, Wheel, can I ask you something real quick? Does it make sense? Is it common sense to keep giving billionaires more money and expecting it to trickle down?
I don't know. Why don't you ask George Soros?
George Soros, if I ran into him face to face, I wouldn't recognize him. So let me just answer my question. Do billionaires need more money? Because Soros was willing to pay more money. Soros and Warren Buffett were willing to pay more money. The billionaires that surrounded Trump on his inauguration night didn't want to pay more. So you don't actually want to address my point, right? Because you want to be taken advantage of by
I am
billionaires.
addressing your point.
Do
Does
you
it make
simp
sense?
for billionaires? Why are you simping for billionaires?
Does it make sense, D. Will, to give using your degree in common sense? It's a master's degree. I understand. I don't know what university, maybe Trump University. Does it make sense to keep giving the billionaires money?
No, it does not keep making sense. So let's talk about the billionaires. Who had more billionaires at their meeting for either the RNC?
Let's just
or the
focus for a
DNC?
second, Wheel. If Kamala had been
You guys
elected,
just
hold
answered
on. I
one
just want you to
question,
focus. Just please focus for a second. I'm not your enemy. Let me just give you some information. The billionaires that were supporting her were willing to see their taxes go up. Elon and the billionaires supporting Trump didn't want their taxes to go up. That's the difference between the two sides. The billionaires on our side are willing to support the country. The billionaires who support Trump support themselves.
Yep. Well said, RC.
Hey, D. Will, are you there?
I disagree with that.
You know, I got to give you some points, D. Will, because I do believe you're really trying to hear us out. A lot of people don't necessarily try to put up with it, and they get upset and they get angry and then they leave. So what RC has basically said is, the billionaires that Kamala had, at least they put America first. And what we're not seeing with Elon, and he actually is working in the government too, which is different because I don't think Kamala would have done that. Elon is not putting America first.
I disagree. He's totally put America first.
How?
Because
Escaping his own investigations?
Because the government is way too big. It's so hypocritical. You guys saying that Elon doesn't put he's done everything he's done has been against himself.
Sir, I want to test that theory. So
hold
hold on a second, sir. Hold on. No, hold on. I want to test that theory. Sir, when Elon told the FAA to cancel the contract for Verizon Wireless, which was a $3 billion contract for Verizon Wireless, and then turn it over to Starlink, was that done against his best interest?
You know about that, D. Will?
So when
Don't bring up Biden. Don't bring Biden up, please.
Answer the question, the direct question.
No, I didn't know the question. So, but your guys.
No. Was that against his? Was that against his best? Was that $3 billion contract against his best interest?
Sir, that's
Okay,
not a
I got
one-sided
one
question.
question for you.
No, can you answer the question, please, sir?
D Will.
No, I don't.
D Will, we're gonna answer your questions, but you
No,
can't.
you're not. You have no.
Yeah, we
desire
are. I
to-
want to answer your questions, but I want you to answer Val's question first, sir.
And you don't gotta get all. You don't gotta cry.
And you're yelling. I have the
Yeah.
headphones in, and you're yelling in my ear.
Yeah. D Will, you don't gotta cry on this show.
I don't need to cry any point in time.
Well, you
Because
okay?
I know the fact is that when you guys
Okay, what's
talk-
your question, D. Will? What's your question? Because you're not going to answer Val. So what's your question?
Well, before he asks a question, let me answer that. You have a person that was coming to government to find waste and actually profited himself from the government by canceling a contract that had already been negotiated, passed by the Congress of this country and approved for Verizon Wireless to handle communications for the FAA. And he took that, canceled that contract, and gave himself a contract for Starlink. So, sir, please stop with what is actually happening. This man engulfed himself while trying to do the work of the people and was never elected.
And not to mention, Val, not to mention that Tesla received a is it $300 million or $400 million dollar contract,
400.
so the federal government can buy these ugly cyber trucks.
Yes, and that was actually meant to be spread across all electric manufacturers across this country, not just Tesla.
And D. Will, when have you ever seen a car dealership at the White House? Since Elon is not enriching himself, when has a car manufacturer, a car owner, a car anything been at the White House with the president of the United States standing out there telling everybody to go out and buy Teslas?
Tesla.
D. Will,
D. Will,
are you there, buddy? Are you there, buddy?
I'm there. I'm just waiting for you guys to stop your bullshit.
Well, you don't gotta use profanity because we want to keep this show clean. But D. Will, I'm really concerned. D. Will, I don't like seeing grown men cry like this.
Do I get to ask my question now? I put
Go
up
ahead.
with your guys' shit. I want to know if I can ask
Well,
my question.
could you not? Can you not use profanity? Because I have my mom listening, buddy, and I'm trying to keep it on the up and up. But yes, please ask your question.
So, let's just go back to 2024. And yes, you got to use Biden because this was his rule. And by the way, it was the Democrats' rule. So, whose policy was it of 2030?
What?
What?
Whose
I'm
policy
confused.
was it for 2030? That
What are you
means
talking about?
all vehicles in the United States would be electric vehicles.
Oh, it's 2030. First off, sir, it was 2035. Okay, and it wasn't, and it's not what you're saying. And so you also know that policy didn't come from the administration. That policy was worked upon by both the manufacturers, GM, Chrysler, Ford, okay, and Tesla. Because that's your, you know what I'm saying? That's your American manufacturers that by 2035, they're no longer going to produce a gasoline engine. Okay, that was done by them. They set their own numbers on that, sir, because all three of those companies know by 2035 there's going to be no need to produce a gasoline engine anymore. Okay, so that was the first part of your problem with your question. Okay, but what you fail to understand is it didn't say we all had to own electric vehicles at that time. Sir, electric vehicles will last another 20, 30, 40 years. Even after that time, they're just not going to produce anymore.
Got that, D. Will? Isn't it safe, D. Will, to say that perhaps you've been misled and you've been bamboozled? Perhaps.
What have I been bamboozled by? The whole EV thing from
Life.
the Democratic Party? And you can say
life.
it wasn't the Democratic Party. This was not only the Democratic Party, but this was the WEF. So stop the whole bull crap.
What are you talking about?
The WEF, Klaus Schwab, or Schwab, as some of them like to call him. But I just like to call
Are
it.
you talking about the World Economic Forum? The forum?
Yes, the World.
Yes,
That's
he
the
is.
Who does the World Economic
I have to
Forum
break it
back?
down for you.
Hold on, sir. Who does the World Economic Forum back?
What?
Who does the World Economic Forum back?
The Democrats, 150%.
No, sir. Try again. It is
please.
Donald J. Trump
You're
and his
so
policies
full of-
because the
Oh
World
my
Economic
God.
Forum, the World Economic Forum is built on making us the working class and protecting the wealthy. They are 100% behind Donald J. Trump, and anybody that sold any other bill of goods other than that has lost their mind.
Well, Trump gave a speech
You
at
guys
the.
are so indoctrinated. It's so funny. Oh my God.
Indoctrinated? Indoctrinated? Really?
Yeah,
D. Will?
indoctrinated.
D. Will. So let me. Can I ask you a very third grade question?
Oh, good. This is something a Democrat should be able to handle then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it should be. You're right.
D.
You're
Will.
correct.
D.
So,
Will.
can
We've been
you-
right.
Can you please tell me the three branches of government?
I am not answering the three branches of dumbass question.
Can you tell me, sir?
Can I ask you a
Can't
question?
answer it?
Because this is the one thing that
See,
is
the
what
reason
kills
why I
me
asked, D. Will, the
is
reason
that
why I
when you
asked,
guys claim,
the reason why I asked, because you said J.P. Morgan did something in the United States that they could not do. So, do you know how the three branches of government work? Well, I doubt you know how they work if you can't name them.
well, I could name them plenty, but that's
Okay, so will you please name them, sir?
legislative,
Please and thank you.
judicial, executive.
Thank you, D.
And
Will.
do you
Ladies
know-
and
and
gentlemen,
do
D.
you-
Will, you get a round of applause, D. Will. I'm gonna give you that.
I do not want to be insulted.
And do you know their functions, sir? Do you know their functions?
Yes.
Could you tell me what the functions of the judicial branch is?
To uphold the law.
Well, actually, no, it's not. It's to interpret the law. Can you tell me the legislative branch
To create the law.
and
No.
the executive branch?
To enforce the law.
So, with that being said, D. Will, let's get back to Mr. Trump. Do you think Mr. Trump is protecting and defending the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic?
Oh, thank God that question was answered. Yes, sir, 150%.
You believe that? So
I
so
do.
you
See,
so you believe it?
when you guys, the young lady that was on there before, when you just had the two people with DJ,
Takesha? Yeah. You like
she said an
Takesha?
interesting thing. So when we talked about the invasion word that she used, maybe I'm on a different chat now. I don't know. Somebody of the Democratic persuasion used the word invasion. Well, the word invasion is actually in the Constitution, but it's not the way she interpreted it.
Yeah, you're in a different chat.
You're in a different chat. There was no talk of invasion here.
So,
Trump last year made a very important rule when he used the word invasion. When he was
Last
talking
year?
about what
He made a
Trump
rule?
Wasn't even president.
It wasn't
last
you,
year.
Takesha. Okay, he was in a different spot. I don't even know if D. Will was on Earth in this previous discussion. D. Will. So here's the thing, D. Will. I looked at some of the videos on your page, and I see you follow a lot of these people on the right, and you like their videos and stuff, right? And so that's why I asked you, do you think perhaps maybe you've been dealt a bad batch? Because every single thing you've brought up on this show, we've totally debunked it and we've annihilated it. And so you don't really have a leg to stand on at this moment, right? And when Nutty asked, do you think Donald Trump is upholding the Constitution and the laws, you emphatically say yes, and you use the percentage 150%. You believe that he is doing that.
Well, could I go to 1,000?
Hey, Mr.
You're living in your
King.
universe. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Zeus, can I get out of myself and be someone completely different right now?
Will it be clean and
no.
don't go after
sure,
one of
sir.
my H's, right? Because if you go after my H, you get in trouble.
It's gonna be 100% clean.
All right, let's do it.
So I have a reputation with you, Shay, Val. You guys know I have no tolerance for this at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually gonna be nice.
What?
I'm
Who's
actually
this guy?
I'm actually gonna be
No.
I'm actually gonna be nice, and I'm gonna say, D. Will you please do me a favor? Please and thank you. See, we're taught to use please and thank you, and I'm using it.
Thank you.
Will you please go look up Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8 in the United States Constitution? Will you please do that for us? And then come back tomorrow?
The little homework, D. Will, nothing you can't handle. Is it? Why are you typing it in the chat, D. Will? You can't talk right now.
I'm not usually able to talk, so I've got to communicate how.
He said
everyone was quiet.
He said, "Is it the Constitution of 1789 or 1871?"
I'm sorry. What?
Hold on, sir. No, hold on. Now you've got my attention.
Right, mine too.
Wait a minute. Me and Nutty are about to fall the hell out right now.
Yeah, no, I am too. So, sir, do you really want to specify the Constitution by the year that it was amended? Do you want to do that for real? Is that the road you want to go down?
I'm actually using that there's two totally different constitutions.
No, there's not, sir. There's only one
not, sir.
Constitution.
No, there's not.
There's only one Constitution. It contains the preamble, 7 articles,
I can't.
and 27 amendments.
27 amendments.
Hey, D. Will.
Just one.
D. Will.
When were the first 10 done? Do you know?
So, but you guys.
D. Will, when was the first 10 amendments?
Whatever
of
I
the
want.
Constitution?
I got a better question for you guys. Here's the
No,
D. Will.
I taught my daughter to ask every single person out there.
D. Will.
I
just want.
What?
So,
Say that
I
again.
got a quick question for the panel here.
Oh,
Answer
we're never going to get an answer from this guy, are we? And I was absolutely nice.
You were
and I said please and thank you.
I'm going to be nice to you.
But D. Will.
But can you answer my question? I said, will you go look up Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution? And for your sake, D. Will, you can use whatever version you want.
And also, so you know, D. Will.
That one would be the 1789.
So D. Will, you said you were calling your daughter to help you get an answer or something?
No.
Oh.
The question I always tell my daughter to ask people.
To ask them what?
I just sent it to you.
About the which Constitution?
Can you just tell us?
No.
Which Constitution?
I sent you another.
Okay.
chat.
All right, D. Will. I think.
Yeah, we're not
I think-
looking at the chat. D.
I think D. Will. This is where we got to get. D. Will. We got to get.
Depends on
Okay,
the
got it.
form. Okay.
Yeah, I think we've made it. We got to get to the place of judgment, D. Will. All right, and you sound like a very, very good person, D. Will. All right, but
No,
you're exhausting. You're exhausting me, D.
I'm
Will.
sorry, Zeus. My history brain is like, I cannot let this go. What
Okay.
other constitution was written in 1871?
In 1871, the United States went bankrupt. We turned over the whole United States to England.
What?
All right.
Shay, I hate you for asking that.
Sorry, I couldn't let it go.
I hate you.
D. Will.
Man, D. Will, you
heard
have
Lost
just
in the
won.
Sauce.
You
I've
have
heard
just
Lost in the
won
Sauce
the
before, but this
dumbest
takes
person
up.
on TikTok award.
Wait, did we lose the War of 1812? And then there was like a period of 50 years in there that we were like, what happened?
We're
I
just the
need to know
biased
this
guy.
battle. What's the name of the battle?
The battle was the Civil War, by the way.
The Civil War. Wait. Okay, so the Civil War ended in 1865, and then there's a 6-year period where somehow, when we freed the slaves, the British took us over.
I didn't say they took us over.
Oh, we became part of England again.
We became part of England again because.
But wouldn't
they
that
took
be them
us
taking
out.
us over? Because weren't we independent?
D Will.
1781,
How many
17.
times have we been bankrupt?
D Will.
We've been
D Will. I gotta stop you right here, D Will. This is enough madness for one day.
My God.
I gotta do it, D Will.
I just want to know the history.
D Will, I gotta do this, champ. I mean, listen, I gotta get you straight to judgment. Unfortunately, the MAGA demon is strong in you. All right?
You will not answer the question. Of how
The MAGA demon is strong in you. And D Will, I gotta cast you straight into the lake of fire for that, D Will. You're living in an alternate reality, and the demon is basically running roughshod. Ladies and gentlemen, that's D Will, who's clearly possessed. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't.
I wanted the history.
Have mercy.
You can't make this stuff up. I mean,
Lord have mercy.
He won the dumbest person on TikTok award just now.
I'll, if you don't mind, Zeus,
Wow.
I'll go first on closeout because I got some things to say about previous
Val, you
guests. I mean, this guest, I don't even know what to say. That's going to take me a minute to unpack. But I want to talk about Little Guppy.
Elected, y'all. Anyway,
Yeah.
Wow.
Go, Val.
I want to talk about Little Guppy because that is the most appropriate named MAGA I've ever seen come into this panel. because, sir, do you know what happens to little guppies? You know, little guppies get swallowed by large guppies.
Wow. Wow. Lord have mercy. Lord.
But the and DJ in whoever that guy was that wanted to talk about trade imbalances. I just brought up the one thing about trade imbalances, but I want to say this to everybody out there. In a time that, hear me when I say this, over 65% of Americans are invested in a 401k through one form or another. And in a time that the average loss over the course of a week to people's 401ks is over $30,000.
Wow.
Working individual.
Wow.
Okay? You want to come up here and say this man is doing right. And then you want to come up here and say, oh, it'll recover. The drop in the stock market that we have seen over the last week and what's continuing to happen is going to take years to gain back. Now, I want you to remember this, DJ. These people are no longer making money on what they've lost.
Wow.
So until it recovers, which will take years, until it recovers to full form, people are not starting to make money that entire time. So if it takes a year, that entire time they made no money on their investments.
Thank you.
This is what you do not get. But it's probably going to take longer than a year.
Thank you. W Val in the chat. Shay, closing remarks.
History, please, everyone, go read your history books and get an education. I really wanted that history lesson because I just could not follow that track of thinking. No, but seriously.
Wow.
This is what happens that when misinformation goes awry. And this is how people like Donald Trump get elected because their knowledge base, as we have seen time and not every single one of them, okay?
Yeah.
But time and time again, they're either conspiracy theorists, they've learned something that's completely wrong, and they get stuck. And they allow people to give them narratives without them doing any research whatsoever, right? And
Well,
so
hold
they're
on.
lost.
I think I know your answer actually now, Shay.
What's that?
So Jim sent me a nice little ditty. The U.S. did sign a treaty with England around that time. It wasn't about the Civil War.
Did it get rid of the Constitution in the process and replace it with a brand new one? Okay. So
that one.
Yeah. See, we can't have that kind of stuff going on, D. Will. Seriously.
And I'm pretty sure we didn't become part of England at that treaty.
No.
We signed many treaties. It doesn't mean we become a different country, nor have a different constitution all of a sudden. Yeah,
That
we have
part.
the oldest living constitution in the world. That is, we've only amended it, and we have never changed it. We're the only country. It's the oldest, and it's only 250 years.
There you go.
Oh my God. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
just stop a conflict. Exactly, Jim. Oh, Keisha, Dr. Keisha wrote you a note. She wants to come up before you get off.
Okay. All right. Nutty, any last remarks?
Yes, I'll make it quick so Dr. Keisha can get up here. Ladies and gentlemen.
She's right there. Good morning.
This is your brain. This is your brain. This is your brain. This is your brain on illegal pharmaceuticals.
Oh! Hey, Nutty, stop.
I'm done. That's all. I mean, that's all I need to say right there.
I love the demo. Always the teacher. Always the teacher. I love
Hey,
it.
can we do that again? I'm gonna give you the big screen. Go ahead and get another egg. I know they're expensive.
Another egg.
Yeah, but I want to see that again. All right, in the big screen. All right.
I might record this. And
Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. How about that? Dr. Keisha, yes. How are you doing? We can't hear you. Oh,
You can't hear me?
now I can. Now I can.
Okay, listen. I was listening in with DJ, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, why am I here? Hey, y'all.
Gosh.
You know the fellas is getting sick right now talking about they need to see a doctor. Knock it off, fellas. Be respectful on my show, please.
Okay, a couple of things. He has been a problem, RFK Jr., giving him 2 weeks. I want to tell you what he just did and what he has done. First of all, in Samoa, if he hasn't checked that and Google it out, and I'm sure I'd love to hear his excuse. The president of Samoa made decisions about stopping immunizations because of misunderstanding what happened to 2 babies. I can go into that some other time. But because of that, quote, ruling, he had many children unalive. RFK came over there, put a bug in his ear. You know, it's the immunizations that's killing them, unaliving them, so you need to stop them, which was the biggest mistake he could have made. And then RFK left and came back as if he did not do anything. RFK just dismantled, and along with Doge, who's doing efficiency. Y'all know that we have STIs on the rise, even here in Texas. Syphilis, there is a drug-resistant gonorrhea, and then we have hepatitis. The whole infectious disease unit testing center with 28 people, all that work there, they shut it down. They went in there and said yesterday, we're closing it down. Some people couldn't even grab their things. And now samples of rare diseases that people were trying to test and treat, sitting there. Hazardous material sitting there. And also the department that releases records to the public, so you have access to knowing what's happening during an outbreak, they dismantled it. So there's nobody to release these public records. The only thing we know that they're doing is they're strategically making sure you don't know what happens when it happens.
Wow. So is this stuff that can easily be remedied, in your opinion, or is this really a situation where some of the damage that gets done may be irreversible? I'm just curious.
It is. Imagine this. If the people in the lab right now were just to up and leave, you can't just go back and think that halting a lab works like that, right? The things that were running, the instruments, the specimens, all of that stuff has to be monitored and kept at a certain way. You can't stop research with specimens and all that as well and then get back to it. That's what happens. Second of all, you can't fire people and think they're all going to want to just come right back. You know? Because the one thing government jobs had was what? Security. You've lost that now. People are like, well, we're going to the private sector. Like, I will never go back to working for someone like that. Never.
Wow. So what we're ultimately getting at, ladies and gentlemen, is due to the misinformation and the disinformation that has came out by the Trump administration, whether it's you not getting the health care that you need, or now what I'm hearing is, some qualified doctors like yourself are saying to themselves, you know what? I don't know if I want to work for this organization or any organization that might be affiliated with Donald Trump. What ultimately results in less health care for the average American is what you're saying, and less quality health care.
That's quality. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, it's really concerning when he did all those cuts last week and then said he made a mistake. 20% of them weren't supposed to be cut. I mean, come on now. I don't know any person on the other side, MAGA, can say that this is justified or makes sense. You guys know nothing about science. Keep your hands out of science and let the experts do what we do, which actually behind the scenes has been keeping you safe. While you're able to be on this app spewing the nonsense you have. It's because we're sitting here not spewing nonsense.
Thank you. And you are basically advocating that people actually listen to the science and not these people who are just basically spreading misinformation, right? Because the science speaks for itself.
Science speaks for itself. Listen, you may not be able to listen to the CDC or the Health Alert Network because all of that stuff is being muted. And I just mentioned, I mean, what just happened with this federal records I didn't know about is really concerning. So, for instance, if something happens, you have the ability, public, just like the news, can go and get access to that information. They let those people go so you can't get that access anymore. So even news sources, we expected to give us that information. Now, lucky for us, a lot of us, which is why I did the Empowered Health Network, is so that people can get access. As other doctors, we talk, right? We talk anonymously and keep each other on the know and know about what's going on. So.
Well, listen, there you have it, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give W's in the chat for Dr. Keisha Davis. Once again, taking time out of her busy morning to give us...
I just released on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, our episode on government contracts and freezes and what that did to healthcare. So y'all, if y'all want the second eye candy, I mean, this is number one. If y'all want to see Dr. Dan and a public health expert and myself talk about the freezes and what it's doing and what you can do to prepare, check out that episode.
All right. And the link is in your bio, right? Do you have it on your bio?
Follow my Medical Collective podcast over here on TikTok until it's here. Until it no longer is.
There you go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's go ahead and once again give Dr. Keisha Davis a huge round of applause because it's another example of Black excellence, and Black is beautiful, and Black is handsome like me, Big Zeus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Thank you so much, Dr. Keisha Davis. All right. Well, listen, we are out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap things up and sign out. All right, I want to make sure we do it the right way, though. Thank you again, all the panelists. To all of you who tuned in this bright and early on a Tuesday morning, you deserve a round of applause. Seriously, thank you. Without you, this show wouldn't be possible. I want to give a special thank you to all of the subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists, even the ones I don't agree with. Honestly, because without you, this show wouldn't be as entertaining, engaging, and educational as it is. But you know what else we got to do? We got to give one last round of booze and shame. And this goes out to all of the Zeus haters out there. And they know exactly who they are. They try to climb Mount Olympus every day with their ladder of lies, and it's actually built with misinformation. So get this, it's a ladder of lies built with misinformation. And every day they try to climb the tallest mountain on TikTok only to find out they're not really getting to the top. Okay, the only way to get to the top is honestly, you got to be honest and truthful. But until then, ladies, you know what we got to do. We're out of here.
Silence, you MAGA Daily.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe out there. All right, we're out of here. You know what time it is. Let's go. Have a great rest of your morning. You know where it is. Have a great rest of your morning, ladies and gentlemen. To you Trump supporters. We're not buying all of this stuff you got going on. Get the stock market back to where it was before it was broken, before you start trying to brag. And then make me the money that I lost. I want that back too, because none of this needed to happen, all right? And cut it out with the lies and misinformation. I'll take care and stay safe. Now, let's get some of this drill, baby drill, out of the way, ladies and gentlemen. You know what we came to do, and we are out of here.
These guys, you know, they go crazy when I say.
Here goes.
The late great Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack. Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack. He's a baby, he's a lots of baby, Harry King. You know she's gonna bang. You know she's gonna bang, King. Right. Up in there, she was against all the stuff, and then all the stuff, and then all the stuff, and then all the time everybody here to Africa.
It's time to drill, baby, drill. She said, I like fracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want. They always go back. She can't help it. She's a radical.
She can't help it.
We're gonna end that, and we will and drill, baby, drill. We gotta be able to drill, ladies and gentlemen.
So deep, we're gonna be for it. Guys, we're gonna drill. We're gonna take out so much money.
We're gonna pay down our debt. We're gonna lower your taxes.
Deep, insane asylum.
Here it goes. They go crazy when I say drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack.
Drill, baby, drill like it's
There you go. You gotta be able to drill, baby, drill. Hey, you want me to lower your taxes, Cleopatra? Hey, here it goes.
Insane asylums.
Here it goes.
You know, they go crazy when I say.
What do they say?
The late great Hannibal Lecter.
Okay,
they say.
Why would he mention Hannibal Lecter? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
Uh-oh.
Deep insane asylums.
You know they go crazy when I say
the late great Hannibal. Drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's always fun to do shows like this. Hey, you know they go crazy. Hey. Hey, hell no. Can you go? Hey, hell no. Can you go? Hey. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. What are we gonna do? We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say. How much do you owe on the mortgage? Oh, don't worry. I'll take good care of you. All right, we'll pay off all your debt. What else are we gonna do? We're gonna lower your taxes, all right? Because guess, oh, you said $1,900? Don't worry, we'll take care of that $1,900, baby, all right? Because guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna drill, baby, drill like you wouldn't believe, and then we're gonna frack, because guess what we got? We got so much liquid gold under our feet, and all we gotta do is drill, baby, drill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care, stay safe out there in those